players were tougher and that football was better in their day. But did you know that they're actually right? Well, sort of, and only partly. Not the bit about it being better, but in a way they are right about it being, as they call it, soft. The important factor, though, is that these changes were made deliberately. Football intentionally got softer, and this is why. The football we know today has its origins in the boarding schools of Victorian England, where violence was fundamental. The game was not so much about winning or losing, but about creating strong, young gentlemen who were capable of taking physical pain as part of a doctrine known as muscular Christianity. The ideology was popular in British public schools at the time and aimed to create men who were deemed to be tough enough to sustain and perpetuate the British Empire. The football of the early days in schools like Rugby or Eton was similar to the mob games of the medieval age. Hacking at the shins was allowed, and some boys would even attach glass to their boots to gain an advantage. Knocking opponents' teeth out, breaking their legs, or even their collarbones were fair game as long as both sets of players shook hands at the end of the match. But eventually, people began to grow tired of a game where violence prevailed. In 1863, the Football Association created a new set of rules where there would be no hacking, tripping, or handling the ball. The committee's stated aim was to see the triumph of skill over force. And it is this battle that was at the heart of football culture for over a century. Skillful players existed, but force was viewed as an acceptable way to stop them. Pelé was venerated as the most skillful player of his era, but few looked twice as he was forced off through injury in the 1966 World Cup, after a series of tackles from the Bulgarian team that would have resulted in many red cards today, but did not even result in a caution on the day. Similarly, Andoni Goicoechea was not even shown a yellow card for a tackle on Diego Maradona that broke the Argentinian legend's ankle and left him sidelined for 3 months. The tackle was so bad that it earned Goicoechea the nickname the Butcher of Bilbao and spawned an intense rivalry between Athletic Club and Barcelona that eventually led to a mass brawl at the end of the 1984 Copa del Rey final. To say that force was entirely accepted wouldn't be quite right. Goicoechea was retroactively given a 6-match ban for his tackle on Maradona, and debates about protecting skillful players against forceful tackles did exist. But in terms of officiating on the pitch, the policy was generally to let the game flow. So yes, football was undoubtedly rougher back in the day, of course it was. But given the obvious trade-offs, when did the complaints of modern softness really begin? Well, the shift began in 1990, when during the build-up to the World Cup, referees were instructed by FIFA to clamp down on violent play. Any official who did not comply would be sent home from the tournament in Italy. The number of red cards shown was doubled in comparison to the 1986 World Cup. But FIFA were still not satisfied with the referees' performances. In the build-up to the 1994 World Cup, referees were given a series of physical and written tests and attended seminars on rule interpretation. Precise instructions were given on changes in emphasis and psychological approach. As then FIFA Vice President Sepp Blatter put it, FIFA tried, by changing the psychology of the referees, to take away the advantage from defenders and give it to the forwards. Skill was being favored over toughness. Key in the referee change was the punishment for tackles from behind, of the kind that had injured Pelé and Maradona in the past. Any type of tackle like this would result in an immediate red card. Many began to argue that the change in emphasis had led to an overcorrection as the number of red cards began to skyrocket over the next few World Cups. But eventually, the culture began to change. Forceful play became less common in the 2000s, although it certainly still existed. Blatter even went as far as to suggest that violent tackles should result in criminal convictions after Birmingham City's Martin Taylor was sent off for a challenge that broke the leg of Arsenal's Eduardo da Silva in 3 places. Today, of course, the presence of VAR at the elite level means that if a player does commit a violent act, they are unlikely to get away with it. Football is less rough than it used to be, but with professional athletes performing at previously unprecedented fitness levels, fewer contact injuries, active concussion protocols, and an arguably more compelling spectacle, it's worth the trade-off. And it concludes a 150-year battle between skill and force. So while your parents might tell you that football has gone soft now and that it was better in their day, It's always worth remembering that their parents probably told them the same thing.
If you like this video, please consider subscribing to the channel. The Athletic is home to some of the world's best sports journalists, including David Ornstein, Daniel Taylor, Ollie Kay, Amy Lawrence and James Horncastle. With the latest transfer news and insight on every Premier League football story that matters, theathletic.com puts you inside football.
悪くないコレクションですね。
理想郷探した誰より早く間違いなくたどり着くために 僕ら昔は東大の元を探す子供のまま生きてた今はそんなに変わってないみたいだそんな僕らは何千と高く心に穴を開けて生きてた実はそんなに変わってないんだってああそうだ先生ここにあるものじゃ全然足りなかったような悲しみが未来をそう作っているって先生ここにあるものじゃ全然足りなかったような愛しさと未来をもう笑っていこうぜ子供の頃は世界を守って精一杯ただ目いっぱいだったでかくなったら変わることが苦しいならやめてたのに胸にいっぱいの葛藤と愛しさでまだ変わることができてたずっとそんなに苦しまなくしたってもういいよ先生ここにあるものじゃ全然足りなかったような愛しさと未来をもう笑っていこうぜ理想郷目指して誰より早く間違いなく自分のためにそこから根ざした誰より高く幸せを目指しただからさね東大先生ここにあるものじゃ全然足りなかったような悲しみが未来をそう作っているって先生ここにあるものじゃ全然足りなかったような愛しさと未来をもう笑っているぜいやもう疲れちまったろ
tak nasihatkan you cari somebody yang sebiji-sebiji sama. Why? Kerana kalau you cari yang terlalu similar, dia akan jadi boring. Dia akan jadi tak hangat tau. Semua benda setuju je. You pun jadi macam no challenge. First of all, kita semua kena faham, sekufu ni tak wajib tau. Dia bukannya dah jatuh hukum wajib cari yang sekufu. Tetapi ia lebih kepada practicality. Dari sudut hikmahnya, memang praktikal untuk kita cari orang yang sekufu dengan kita. Sekufu ni maknanya apa? Bukannya bermaksud resume kita, resume dia match. No. Dia bukannya, oh dia PhD, aku juga PhD. Dia orang bandar, aku juga orang bandar. Dia T20, aku pun T20. Bukan itu maksudnya sekufu. Maksud sekufu di sini, yang paling mudah yang boleh saya nak bagi orang faham adalah you dengan dia boleh ngam. Ngam dari segi apa? Ngam dari segi bila kita berinteraksi tu, kita boleh gel, kita boleh jive, vibe kita tu macam boleh in lah. Kiranya bila kita bercakap dengan dia intellectually, kita sama frekuensi. Bila kita cakap soal agama, kefahaman kita serupa. Bila kita cakap soal matlamat hidup, kita boleh harmoni. Those kind of things akan menyebabkan kita sekufu. Bukannya PhD, bukannya gaji tinggi. Itu benda yang superficial sangat bila cakap pasal sekufu. Kerana bila dalam soal kehidupan seharian suami isteri, kita nak berinteraksi, kita punya resume tu dah tak tepi dah. I tak kisah you PhD ke tak. Kalau you cakap kurang ajar dengan saya, tak boleh lah macam tu. Alright, so that's not about PhD. It's about mannerism. It's about personality. It's about give and take. Sama ada kita ni boleh harmoni atau sebaliknya. Bukan nak kata bila sekufu ni takkan bergaduh. No, still akan bergaduh. Bergaduh is no-brainer. Akan berlaku. Cuma orang yang sekufu ni bila bergaduh pun dia membina. Bergaduh pun dia boleh menyebabkan hubungan tu lagi lebih erat. Dia manage konflik tu in such a way yang walaupun ia konflik, kan? Konflik ni macam-macam lah. Beza pendapat lah, tak suka, tak puas hati, semua akan berlaku. Tapi dia boleh diselesaikan dengan cara yang dia membina hubungan tu. Bukannya membinasakan hubungan tu. So sekufu ni penting because it's practical. Because kalau saya tanya you lah kan, you masuk kereta, akan pergi satu perjalanan yang amat jauh. Dan saya tanya, you nak siapa sebagai co-pilot? Somebody yang sentiasa cari gaduh dengan you, semua benda tak kena, semua benda tak bagus, semua benda dia tak suka, ataupun somebody yang harmoni dengan you, boleh ngam dengan you. Ya, gaduh sekali-sekala tu biasa, tapi at the end of the day kita still boleh get along. Sebab perjalanan kita jauh kan. Duduk satu kereta betul. Kita sebelah-sebelah ni. You nak siapa sebagai orang sebelah you? Obviously you akan pilih somebody yang harmoni dengan aku lah. Pasal perjalanan ni jauh. Aku tak nak accident sebab aku kerja gaduh dengan dia je. So itulah perumpamaan bila kita berkahwin, kita dalam satu perjalanan yang jauh, satu kereta yang sama, dan kita nak ada teamwork antara kita berdua supaya kereta tu sampai ke destinasi dengan selamat. Ingat bukan you berdua je. Belakang tu ada passenger. Siapa dia? Anak-anak kita. Right? So kita kena make sure kesekufuan tu ada because for practical reason, hikmah dia adalah ini probability nak membina hubungan yang bahagia tu lebih tinggi. Nak guarantee tu tak boleh, but probability wise kebarangkaliannya lebih tinggi untuk bina hubungan lebih bahagia lah kalau jumpa yang sekufu. And that's why nak jumpa sekufu tu kena ada ta'aruf, barulah boleh capai ke arah sekufu tu. Dia tak jadi secara magic lah, dia jadi secara usaha. Mencari orang yang berbeza daripada kita sebab opposite attract lah kononnya kan. Okey, so ada satu ulasan daripada seorang psikologis bernama Dr. Jordan Peterson. Beliau seorang psikologis daripada Kanada, tempat saya belajar dulu, dan dia punya specialty adalah personality. Ini memang bidang dia. Dan dia kata bila cakap pasal perkahwinan ini, eloknya optimum kita cari somebody yang ada perbezaan dengan kita. So dia tak nasihatkan you cari somebody yang sebiji sama. Why? Kerana kalau you cari yang terlalu similar, dia akan jadi boring. Dia akan jadi tak hangat tau. Semua benda setuju je. You pun jadi macam no challenge lah. No challenge. And itu adalah satu masalah dalam hubungan yang jangka masa panjang. Jangka masa pendek tak apa, you mungkin enjoy benda tu. But in the long term, you akan dapat rasa macam there's no friction yang menghangatkan hubungan, you know. So, jangan cari orang yang sama sangat, yang sebiji-sebiji sangat. At the same time, dia juga tidak sarankan kita cari orang yang beza besar sangat. Asyik-asyik bergaduh je, cakap sikit meletup. Itu pun tak bagus juga kerana dia terlalu eksplosif hubungan tu. Semua benda tak kena. So dia tak boleh sama sangat, tak boleh beza sangat. So dia punya sweet spot tu kat tengah-tengah, di mana kita boleh agree on fundamental things yang kita kata benda-benda besar tu dalam ta'aruf. Contoh macam fahaman agama, matlamat hidup, niat perkahwinan. Itu memang kena agree lah. Mana boleh disagree benda-benda macam tu. Tapi kita boleh disagree benda-benda lain, benda-benda cabang tu. Macam makanan kegemaran, kita nak bercuti kat mana, kita nak fashion yang macam mana. Benda-benda macam tu kita boleh berbeza pendapat. It's okay. Bila kita beli rumah nanti, seorang nak dekorate macam ni, seorang nak dekorate macam ni. Kita boleh berbeza. Tak ada masalah. Itu tak menyebabkan rumah tangga tu meletup tau. Kerana apa? Kerana kita dah agree on fundamental things. Yang penting tu, yang besar tu. So kalau kita disagree disagree benda-benda lain, dia dikira benda-benda yang cabang ataupun kecil, dia tak mengganggu benda-benda besar tu. And that kind of marriage, dia kekal hangat because this friction menyebabkan kita sentiasa kena belajar untuk bertolak ansur, give and take. Dia tak boleh lah sentiasa nak aku menang je atau sentiasa nak dia menang je. Tak boleh. Dia give and take, dia menyebabkan hubungan tu sentiasa hangat. And plus, orang yang tak agree ni, dia boleh belajar benda baru, perspektif baru, cara lihat baru, right? Tanpa mengganggu fundamental of the marriage. So yang tengah-tengah di sini yang disarankan adalah tak apa, cari yang berbeza, mungkin ada attraction kat situ, like kerjaya berbeza tak ada masalah. But the actual matlamat hidup tak boleh beza. Purpose of life kena sama, kena selari. Niat perkahwinan kena selari. Those are the fundamental things, tak boleh kita disagree. Benda-benda lain, tak apa. Those are the spice of the marriage. Nama saya Aiman Azlan, seorang ta'aruf coach dan juga kaunselor perkahwinan berdaftar. Saya ada tulis buku. Nama buku yang saya tulis adalah Soal Jodoh dan Ta'aruf. Bagaimana mencari dan menentukan pasangan yang sekufu. Buku ini saya tulis khas untuk anda yang sedang mencari pasangan, yang single, yang mungkin tak putus harapan, and mungkin yang keliru macam mana cara nak berkahwin. So dalam buku ini saya akan outline 5 fasa yang anda akan lalui untuk nak berkahwin. Each fasa itu diterangkan dengan detail dan ia adalah satu persatu. Jangan langkah mana-mana fasa atau step, okey?
Hello guys, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan selamat sejahtera guys. What up? I'm Audio, so welcome back to my YouTube channel guys. Okay guys, so konten aku kali ni pasal apa? Okay, sekarang ni, okay kejap, ni kita kenalkan dulu. Ini adik saya, Ayib. Okay, so boleh follow dia punya Instagram dekat sini dan juga TikTok dia kat sebelah sini guys. Alright, kita kasih promote lah adik kita. Tapi kenapa adik aku lagi handsome pada aku guys? Acana ni guys. Annyeonghaseyo guys. Tak adalah. Okay guys, sekarang ni guys, awak tengah tengok kerja awak. Awak rasa macam kita tahu ni macam ada benda yang tak cukup lagi guys. Okay. Kalau korang tengok untuk bahagian belakang ni ada something yang macam awak rasa macam aku perlu tambah benda ni guys. Okay. Kalau tengok dari side bahagian depan guys, tak tahulah, ini pendapat awak lah guys. Okay, ini pendapat awak. Okay. Untuk depan bahagian kereta awak ni dah nampak macam garang sikit lah. Ni pendapat awak lah. Okay. Tapi dekat bahagian belakang ni guys, dia macam ada satu benda yang kurang sikit guys. Dia, orang kata, dia punya menu dia kira macam kalau kita memasak tu ada kurang garam sikit guys. Kalau korang nak tahu apakah bendanya, tapi mestilah korang dah tahu, korang dah tengok tajuk episod ni kan. Tapi tak apalah, korang pun tak tahu barang dia macam mana kan. Okay. So tanpa membuang masa guys, let's go. Tapi sebelum tu guys, jangan lupa subscribe my channel, like, comment and share. Subscribe itu gratis guys. Mantap. Semantap. Hello guys, what up? Audio here. Okay, so sekarang awak dah sampai dah. Awak sampai kat mana? Okay, sebenarnya awak belum sampai lagi dekat kedai yang awak nak pasang spoiler ni. Sebab sebelum kita nak pasang spoiler bonet ni, dah kantoi dah konten. Sebelum awak nak pasang spoiler bonet ni, sebenarnya kita kena wrap ada satu parts dekat bahagian bonet dia guys. Kalau tak wrap tak apa. Dia boleh je pasang spoiler tu, cuma dia agak kurang kemas sikit. Korang mesti tak faham kan, kurang kemas macam mana tu. Nanti awak akan share lah guys. Okay, so sekarang ni guys, awak dekat Padang Jawa. Dia tak pasang banner lagi, kedai Abang Mei. Okay, sebenarnya wrap ni awak nak pergi dekat grafik motorsport, tapi dekat grafik guys ramai guys. So awak pun tanya Abang Azmi, tanya bang, mana bang kedai-kedai wrap lagi area-area tempat abang ni kan. Then Abang Mi kata awak try pergi dekat kedai brother ni lah. Okay, so awak pergi dekat kedai brother ni, dan dia kata dia boleh buat benda yang awak nak buat ni lah guys. Okay, so ini kedai dia guys. Nampak owner dah keluar. Okay, kejap dia nak buat apa ni. Okay guys, so ni dia Abang Mei. Mantap Abang Mei. Abang ni dia tengah nak wrap kat, ada parts kat kereta awak ni. Tak apa, biar dia buat kerja. Sekarang ni kita nak tengok kereta Abang Mei. Abang Mei boleh abang awak shoot kereta abang Biasa tak basuh. Kereta tak basuh tak apa kan, santai. Yang penting geng-geng Myvi juga guys. Mantap. Okay, so kita tengok kereta dia. Ini Myvi G2 Icon. Okay, So rim dia ni, dia pakai rim 16 inci guys. Kita share sikit lah guys. Kalau pasal rap je boring juga kan. So kita share sikit lah pasal kereta ni guys. Okay guys, so ni kereta owner dia. Dia kata dia banyak nak mods ni kereta ni guys. Okay, dia banyak nak modify ni kereta ni. Ni pun baru-baru lagi ni. Abang Mei ni sebenarnya kalau korang nak tahu, aku pendekkan cerita, dia adalah member kepada member aku, iaitu Syah. Syah yang sebelum ni aku pernah shoot kereta dia. Aku pernah review kereta dia, My VG1 yang dah main Paso. Tapi dengan kata sekarang dia dah main Daihatsu pula. Tak tahu dah murtad pula member kan. Aduh, aku pun pening kan guys. Okay, so yep, tanpa membuang masa, kita tengok kedai baru Abang Mei. Kedai dia baru saja set up guys. Tapi kita share sikit lah guys. Kalau akan datang, kalau korang nak buat rap apa benda kan, contoh macam dekat grafik ramai ke apa, so ini kedai number 2 yang recommended lah guys. Okay, so ni kedai dia. Belum pasang banner lagi. Okay, so dekat dalam ni nampak dia punya setup dia memang cool guys. Okay guys, so itu saja kedai Abang Mei. Baru saja set up kedai dia. Nanti kalau korang nak tahu apa-apa update dia, maybe aku akan share dia punya social media dekat sebelah ni guys. Alright, so now kita tengok Abang Mei. Okay, nampak tu dia rap bahagian situ sahaja guys. Kalau korang nak tahu bahagian mana, aku rap bahagian sini guys. Sikit dia bahagian sini. Korang mesti pelik, awak kenapa nak rap bahagian situ kan? Nanti kalau kita dah sampai dekat kedai yang awak nak pasang spoiler bonnet ni, awak akan share kenapa awak nak rap bahagian situ. Sebenarnya tak perlu rap pun tak apa guys, tapi macam awak ni, awak mementingkan kekemasan dia guys. Sebab benda kalau kita dah pasang spoiler ni dan kita baru nak rap, memang agak leceh guys. So sebelum pasang, kalau boleh rap dulu. Okay. Abang Mei memang mantap lah guys. Aku ingat mula-mula sebenarnya tak perlu buka lampu tau, tapi dia buka juga lampu. Untuk apa bang, orang kata nak bagi kemas. Okay guys, so kita tengok sebelah sini nampak dia wrap sikit saja bahagian sini guys. Sikit saja sebab nanti spoiler tu akan pasang kat sini. Okay, kau mesti pelik kat mana awak pasang spoiler bonnet ni. Okay, kita tunjuk muka lah guys. Okay, nak pasang spoiler bonnet ni, kedai dia ni pun agak famous juga macam dekat Straight Garage guys. Cuma kalau kau nak tahu sebenarnya awak nak pasang kat Straight Garage, aku dah tanya Syah kata dia tak bawa masuk pula spoiler ni. Dia ada bawa masuk tapi tak tahu sekarang ni dia habis stok ke apa benda. Aku dah tanya, dia kata tak apa, kau try pergi dekat JL Automotive, dan tu yang aku terus pergi ke ni lah, JL Automotive ni. Okay, nampaknya dah kantoi dah, bagi tahu nama kedai dia ni. So apa-apa nanti stay tune guys. Alright. Hello guys, what up? Aku di here. Okay, sekarang aku dah sampai di JL Automotive guys. Okay, kita di Ceras guys. Awak tadi daripada Shah Alam turun ke Ceras. Jauh mat dengan bulan puasa lagi ni, tapi tak apalah. Kereta kita cantik, hidup pun happy, betul tak? Okay, sekarang ni awak dekat JL Automotive. Awak nak pasang spoiler bonnet guys. Okay, tapi sebelum tu ada customer di tengah nak pasang barang jap. Okay, so kita check it out dulu guys. Kita tengok customer ni dia pasang apa guys macam ni kereta awak. Biar ini ada awak ada kat dalam, tunggu jap. Okay, ini kereta customer ni. Okay, kita tengok mana customer bro. Okay bro, santai-santai bro. Daktil lah. Daktil pasang daktil mana? Daktil besar ke daktil kecil tu?
Daktil kecil PSM.
Oh, alright. Cun. Okay, so ini dia punya owner dia, Jason guys. Dulu I datang sini guys, beli daktil dengan dia ni guys. Tapi Jason dulu kedai dia kat rumah Jason kan?
Dulu kat rumah.
Sekarang sudah, orang kata sudah masyuk Jason sudah ada kedai Okay, so kita biar Jason buat kerja dulu, pasang kereta-kereta customer ni. Okay, and after that baru settlekan kereta. Sekarang ni guys, aku nak tunjuk dengan korang kereta Jason. Jason ni siapa? Jason ni adalah owner JL Automotive guys. Okay, tunjuk kita tengok kereta dia. Handsome guys. Okay, kereta dia ni tak silap awak, dia punya rim 17 inci tau, tak silap awak lah. Okay, jom kita tengok betul tak. Kita tengok spek tayar dia 205 45 17 guys. So 17 inci babe. Dia pakai adjuster apa tak tahu. Ini JL Automotive. Weh, diffuser dia leh masam babe. Siap ada sayap ni. Ni tak boleh ni, aku nak kena pakai juga ni guys. Lain macam diffuser ni, tak tahulah diffuser apa guys. Cun juga ada sayap tepi dia ni kan. Kau tengok. Jason kata sorry lah Wok, kereta kotor. Aku cakap tak apa guys. Side diffuser sama macam Wok. Okay. Cun. Tengok bonet dia pun terangkat Oh, dia pasang damper ni bagi naik sikit bonet Oh, brake caliper dia pun sudah tukar babe. Banyak besar guys. Sensor Cun. Okay guys, so sekarang turn out pula nak pasang spoiler bonnet. So let's go, aku tunjukkan korang guys. dia dah tutup dah lubang ni, okey, supaya air tak masuk lah guys. Okey, so sekarang kita tengok, kita tanya Jason apa dia buat sekarang. Okey Jason, sekarang you buat apa Jason?
Lepas cover, sekarang pakai primer dulu.
Okey, primer.
Dan nak pakai silikon, pakai primer, lepas tu baru letak tu spoiler.
Okey, cun. So dia tak adalah terus pasang spoiler tu guys. Okey, spoiler ni guys, alang-alang tu kita share sikit lah. Spoiler bonnet ni guys, dia tak perlu tebuk body tu guys. Dia tak perlu tebuk body, dia just pakai 3M saja. Okey, tapi kalau setakat pakai TM saja, risau dia tercabut. So Jason dia letak ini ubat rahsia dia. Ubat rahsia dia. Dan nanti dia pasang terus spoiler. So dia akan lekat memang cun-cun lah. Cun-cun punya kalau pasang. Alright guys, sekarang Jason dia tengah buka 3M. Okey. So dia dah nak pasang dah dekat spoiler ni guys. Tapi malangnya sudah mau hujan oh. Mi macam mana Mi? Baru pasang ni Mi. Jason kata kalau boleh jangan kena air Mi. Cano ni Mi.
Pagi sini kan.
Pagi sini Mi Aduh, tak apa, santai. Santai-santai guys. Kita payung sikit kata Mi. Mi ni merupakan followers aku. Selalu sembang kat social media. Tak sangka jumpa kat sini guys. T37 16 inci guys. Cun. Awak akan letak Instagram Mi lah Mi. Kita share Instagram Mi. Kod orang nak follow kan. Okay. Alright, so now kita kembali tengok spoiler ni guys. Jason dia tengah install. Kita jangan kacau guys, sebab nanti dia tak boleh nak fokus. So ni kita biar dia pasang guys. Okay guys, sekarang sudah siap pasang spoiler bonnet guys So memang nampak cun-cun. Ni pun tak nampak bodi dalam guys Memang handsome guys. Okay, tak apa. Ini kejap lagi awak akan buat video untuk yang tempat yang cerah sikit sebab sekarang ni cuaca pun nak hujan. So tak nampak, korang pun tak nampak dia punya spoiler bonnet ni betul-betul kan. Okay. So dalam masa yang sama guys, aku nak share Jason punya barang lagi yang dia jual. Dia sebenarnya banyak lagi guys. Kalau korang nak tahu lebih lanjut apa yang JL Automotive ni dia jual, aku akan letak Instagram dia dekat sebelah sini. Dan korang bolehlah tengok apa lagi yang dia jual lah guys. Okay. Macam sekarang ni Jason dia nak share dengan aku dia punya bonnet carbon fiber looks. Okay. Dan juga dia punya ducktail guys. Okay. Macam ni Jason dah ada bertuan ke Jason dua-dua barang ni? Sudah ada orang punya kan?
Ada orang punya.
Sudah ada orang punya tak? Okay, sudah dah tak not available. Tapi kalau korang berminat nak dapatkan ni, boleh DM dia lah guys. Okay, so now I will close up sikit untuk bonnet dia ni. Okay. So bonnet dia ni ada apa Jason material dia ni?
Material fiber.
Material fiber material fiber. So boleh tengok lah guys kat sini. Siap ada ni JL carbon kit JL carbon kit. Alright. So boleh nampak dia punya hasil carbon dia memang handsome guys. Cun-cun. Okay, kalau korang berminat boleh screenshot sekarang dan terus hantar dekat JL Automotive punya social media guys. Alright. Dan satu lagi ducktail dia. Ducktail dia ni pun carbon fiber looks. Okay. Memang handsome guys. Alright. Cun-cun. Yang ni pun ducktail pun kalau korang nak dapatkan, boleh dapatkan dekat sini guys. Sekejap aku akan tengah flash. JL Automotive guys, boleh dapatkan dengan dia. Alright. So ini owner dia, pastikan ini owner dia guys jangan orang lain
Jangan
Jason.
orang lain lah.
Okay. So thank you so much guys.
The next day.
Okay guys, what up, audio here. Okay, sekarang kita keesokan harinya. Okay, jom kita tengok spoiler out lebih jelas. Sorry lah guys, sebab semalam kalau korang tengok kan cuaca dah nak hujan time out nak keluar ke JL Automotive tu kan. So kali ni kita shoot hari seterusnya untuk out tunjuk dengan korang spoiler bonnet ni lebih detail dan lebih nampak lebih jelas lah guys. Okay, macam semalam kan tepat JL Automotive tu kan dia gelap sikit, tak ada lampu cahaya sangat kan. Kali ni kita shoot kat luar guys. Okay guys, macam sekarang ni outshoot dekat Taman Section 2 Shah Alam. Okay, nampak macam tak ramai orang lagi. So, jom kita tengok spoiler baru awak. Okay, benda ni guys, nama dia spoiler bonnet guys. Sebab apa dinamakan spoiler bonnet? Sebab dia pasang dekat bahagian bonnet ni guys. Okay, kalau pasang spoiler ni guys, aku nak bagi tahu. Aku bagi tahu dululah benda ni. Kalau korang nak pasang spoiler bonnet ni, korang memang kena buka wiper belakang guys. Okay, kena buka wiper belakang. Sebab apa? Sebab nampak ni dia rata, dia tutup macam ni. Kalau ada wiper belakang, dia tak boleh nak pasang lah, sebab dia akan mengganggu spoiler bonnet ni. Okay. So spoiler bonnet ni mesti akan ada yang akan cakap, lah kena buka wiper belakang ke? Kan wiper belakang tu penting guys. Okay, betul, memang wiper belakang penting. Tapi kalau untuk awak guys, awak jujur bagi tahulah, wiper belakang memang awak tak guna. Sebab first kali awak dah coating dah cermin belakang ni. Okay, awak dah coating cermin belakang ni. So bila waktu hujan lebat ke apa benda ke, air dia lalu je guys. Air dia lalu je. Okay, so awak guna coating apa? Okay, jom alang-alang tu kita share sekali lah guys. Okay guys, so awak guna coating daripada turbo coating. Okay, turbo coating ni kalau korang nak dapatkan, awak akan letak linknya dekat bawah guys. Okay, alang-alang tahu share sekali lah cara nak pasang dia guys. Kalau korang tak percaya, you lah tu dah coating. Okay, first sekali korang kena bersihkan dulu cermin belakang ni. Macam awak dah bersihkan, so just tembak je macam ni. Okay, tembak je, lepas tu ambil kain and then lap macam ni. Pusing je guys. Alright, macam tu je. Lap sampai hilang minyak dia guys. Okay guys, dah alang-alang tu tembaklah coating dekat spoiler baru kita ni. So air nanti dia lalu je kan dekat spoiler ni. Okay, dia salah satu dia mengilatkan juga permukaan dan dia melicinkan permukaan juga guys. Okay guys, so itulah dia. Aku dah letak coating lah. Macam tadi aku letak lagi supaya tunjuk bukti dengan korang yang ya betul memang aku dah coating. So air dia memang lalu. Kalau korang nak tengok lebih lanjut pasal coating ni, awak akan letak episod coating ni dekat tepi sini, dan you guys boleh tengok lebih lanjut lah. Awak ada tunjuk selepas coating kita tuang air apa benda semua, memang air dia lalu je guys. Okay, so sekarang ni kita berbalik pada spoiler ni, spoiler bonnet. Okay, so spoiler bonnet ni guys, korang boleh dapatkan dekat JL Automotive guys. Okay, macam sekarang ni awak ambil color gloss black. Actually JL Automotive dia ada buat macam kalau korang nak carbon fiber looks, korang nak forged carbon looks, korang nak honeycomb looks. Tapi macam awak ambil gloss black ni sebab awak nak nampak clean belakang guys. Yelah, sebab spoiler awak dah gloss black. Okay, cermin pun dah gelap sikit belakang. Lepas tu spoiler bonnet ni kita ambil gloss black, so nak nampak lebih kemas lah. Okay, macam belakang ni awak main carbon pun dekat bahagian lampu Mustang je. Carbon look. Sebab bagi awak lah, pendapat awak, kalau banyak sangat carbon dia dah nak jadi macam terlalu semak lah guys. Bagi awak lah. Okay, dan untuk beritahu awak nak bagi nampak simple looks lah. Okay, awak paling suka spoiler bonnet ni tengok side daripada tepi ni guys. Okay, korang tengok side daripada tepi ni. Memang jenah. Okay, kita tengok daripada tepi sini guys. Alright, dia nampak shape spoiler ke atas tu kan macam ni, and then kat bonnet tu ada sikit lagi macam tu. Memang handsome lah guys. Okay, satu lagi awak highlight dekat bahagian lampu yang awak ada wrap tu kan. Okay, nampak ni. So bila kita dah wrap bahagian dalam ni, dia tak nampak warna silver, warna body tu guys. Okay, kalau dari jauh tengok memang tak nampak guys, kalau awak tak wrap lagi lah bahagian situ. Tapi kalau kita jenis detail tengok dekat-dekat macam ni, dia akan nampak silver warna body. Kita macam awak dah wrap, so dia dah tak nampak sangat lah guys. Kita pusing lah guys satu kereta. Kita pusing satu kereta, tengok cun tak cun. Okay, alright. Okay, nampak memang handsome tengok shit dari tepi ni kan. Okay, nampak sini sikit, sini sikit.
My name came up a lot, it sounds more when I was not around. Certain people that I know, they ain't no longer about. Unless you heard it from me, then you ain't heard it from me. Got it from me, all the energy extra. When I'm facing you, couple hits to the face. I know that I need time now, so I gotta go and find my way.
Okay guys, aku lupa nak highlight benda ni. Spoiler bonnet ni dia sesuai ke untuk Myvi G3 facelift? Okay, jawapan dia ya, memang sangat sesuai guys. Sebab MG3 pre-facelift dan juga MG3 FL, dia punya bonnet 100% sama guys. Okay, bonnet untuk bahagian belakang sama 100%. So kalau geng-geng FL nak pasang juga spoiler ni, boleh, tak ada masalah guys. Okay, so dalam masa yang sama benda ni paling besar sekali, pasti orang akan ramai tanya, berapa harga dia? Okay, dia punya harga dia, kalau korang nak tahu, harga dia RM3. So pandai-pandai lah teka berapa, 3 apa, 3K, adakah RM3, adakah 300. So kenalah, kalau nak tahu kena DM lah JL Automotive dekat bawah. Jason kata dengan awak jangan bagi tahu harga dekat YouTube. Nanti suruh diorang DM Jason terus. Okay, so nanti nampak lah ada comeback daripada YouTube awak ni. Okay, so apa-apa guys, satu lagi aku nak bagi tahu guys, kalau you guys mention nama audio, you guys akan dapat special price guys, akan dapat diskaun lah. Okay, daripada 3 rak, dah rasa dah tahu ni 3 rak korang mention nama audio, akan dapat special price guys. Trust me. Awak dah bincang dengan Jason dah. Untuk followers Audio, bagi siapa yang nak beli ni, you guys mention nama awak, akan dapat special price. Mantap termantap guys. Awak bagi special untuk followers awak ni. Okay. Satu lagi awak lupa nak bagi tahu guys, spoiler bonek ni apa yang best tahu. Contohlah kalau korang lepak-lepak dengan member korang, okay, contohlah korang bawa air kan, korang tak tahu nak letak air kat mana kan, letaklah air kat sini guys. Nampak? Boleh letak air, boleh letak phone, boleh letak apa lagi, bayar duit, boleh letak kunci, apa benda semua. Tak adalah guys, tahu gurau lah guys. Okay, tapi itulah, kira ada fungsi dia lah. Macam orang Malaysia ni kan suka macam buat benda bukan-bukan. Okay, so yep, aku rasa episode awak kali ni sampai sini saja. Jangan lupa subscribe my channel, like, comment dan share. Subscribe tu gratis guys. Mantap termantap.
More when I was not around. Certain people that I know, they ain't no longer about. Unless you heard it from me, then you ain't heard it from me. Got it from me, all the energy extra. When I'm faced into food, couple hits to the face. I know that I need time now, so I gotta go and find my way.
Astagfirullahaladzim.
Still, I refuse to...
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Scan. Dire's top tower.
See you over there.
Once upon a time, The Athletic was the gold standard of football journalism. Long-form, data-driven content that's aimed at the football fan looking to go beyond the surface. Lately, it feels like they've traded analysis for algorithms. Take the recent agent survey that they did. The title reads, "From best and worst deals to selecting champions and relegation candidates." And what's the main headline? You guessed it, Benjamin Šeško is the worst signing of the summer. Ahead of James Trafford returning to City and being replaced in the very same window, and ahead of Mr. 007 himself, Florian Wirtz's £116 million move to Liverpool. In fact, Liverpool spent more than £400 million this summer, with 2 signings being over £100 million, yet somehow the only club getting dragged down is Man United, again. And it's not just that one piece. Just a week earlier, The Athletic defended Wirtz's slow start with a sympathetic feature titled The 007 Insult, What It Is, and Why It's an Unfair Way to Judge New Players. And guess who is on the thumbnail next to Wirtz? It's Thierry flipping Henry. When it's Liverpool we're talking about, it seems to be context. When it's Man United we're talking about, it seems to be crisis. That, my friends, is not analysis, it's engagement farming. It's the kind of rage bait you expect on social media, not from a $100 a year subscription that Athletic charges. In this video, I'm going to break down how The Athletic have drifted from trusted journalism into fan-based manipulation and why their treatment of Amarim's tactics proves it. Specifically, I'm going to go look at JJ Bull's lazy analysis of the Amarim system across 2 or 3 recent videos on Athletic's YouTube feeds, so make sure you stay till the end of the video to get the whole picture. Did you know that only 17% of people watching this video are subscribed to the channel? So if you're enjoying the content, please drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel to show your support. Now let's get on to the rest of the video. Now the first video we're going to cover is this one from 6 days ago titled Why Man United's 3-4-3 Doesn't Work But Palace's Does. And as someone that consumes a ton of United-based content myself, I was very excited to learn something from this video because Carl Anka is on it, who's a United-based writer that I respect a lot, and JJ Bull and John McKenzie are on it, who've been respected football analysts for a very long time. The very first thing that caught my eye about halfway through this video is JJ saying that when United have settled position in the opposition third, they don't create as much and they normally shoot from outside the box. As someone who's closely watched every single United game this season, my ears perked up immediately because I don't remember seeing a lot of long shots when we've played against low blocks. But of course, I kept watching the rest of the video because maybe I've missed something. He then goes on to say that United struggle with settled possession because we don't have the confidence to win it back, which I agree with because two of our biggest problems this season are confidence and composure on the ball, like I've talked about before. But I was still stuck on the point that JJ made about us taking too many long shots, so I went back to check our shot map this season. And based on what I'm seeing here, it looks like we have some shots from outside the box, but still most of our shots are from inside the box. And we can even go player by player here, and you can see that Mbumo has cut inside and taken a lot of shots, but still only 5 of his shots are from outside the box, with most of them coming from inside the box. If we look at Diallo, he's also taken most of his shots from inside the box. If we look at Šeško, he's also taken almost all of his shots from inside the box. And Mateus Cunha is definitely the biggest culprit, with most of his shots coming from outside the box. But even in that case, it's part of Cunha's game. If we look at Cunha's shot for Wolves last season, he took 102 of them and almost half of them came from outside the box, and he scored 5 of his 15 goals from outside the box as well. But even if you say Cunha is a big problem, that's just one of our front 4 from Mbumo, Cunha, Diallo, and Šeško. So it doesn't really seem like shooting from distance is a problem across the team as much as JJ Bull claimed. But maybe that was just a throwaway comment, so let's move on to the next video that they've made. Now, this one was released 2 weeks ago on October 3rd, just one day before the Sunderland game, and it's titled, "Are Manchester United as bad as people think?" This video has 347,000 views on YouTube and almost 10,000 likes, with people saying stuff like, if a private YouTube channel can perform quality analysis at this level, makes you wonder what the highly paid data team at United is doing daily. And it also says, I can't stress how much I love this video, really explains well and simply from an analyst's point of view. So, as a viewer, I'm going into this video ready to be educated about all of United's deficiencies this season. But just a minute into the video, JJ Bull says he's watched every single one of United's shots, and we keep shooting from absolutely stupid positions, end quote. And he shows this graphic right here, which highlights the fact that 25% of United's shots are coming from this central area and another 9% coming from the left and right hand sides here. So as a United fan, you're looking at this graphic and thinking, wow, I had no idea we were taking so many long shots, and this must clearly be a problem that is unique to Man United that's causing all of our problems. I mean, why else would JJ Bull bring up this graphic for United and not give us a comparison to other teams around the league? So I did some of my own digging. Here is Manchester United's shot distribution by location, and you can see that out of the 110 shots we've taken in the Premier League this season, only 10% are from inside the 6-yard box, another 58% are from inside the box, and only 32% of them are from outside the box. But when we look at the same distribution for Manchester City, looks like they have 35% of shots from outside the box. And if we look at Liverpool's shot distribution, looks like 36% of them are from outside the box. And if we look at Chelsea's shot distribution, looks like 33% of them are from outside the box. In fact, only Tottenham at 27% and Arsenal at 22% are better than United this season when it comes to shooting from inside the box. So why the hell is JJ Bull saying that Man United are shooting from absolutely stupid positions instead of saying that United are third best out of the top 6 teams in terms of shooting from distance? Could it be that The Athletic has a clear negative bias towards Man United? Or is it just that JJ Bull is too lazy to pull up the stats that I've just pulled up to run a quick comparison between some of the other big teams in the Premier League? Either way, this is not a good look for JJ Bull or The Athletic. Anyways, moving on, he discusses why United are shooting from so far out, and he uses this Šeško shot against Brentford as an example, which by the way came from inside the box, as he confirms himself. So why is he sharing an example of a shot that came from inside the box to talk about how bad we are of shooting from outside the box? Then he uses examples of 2 long shots from Mateus Cunha, where in the first one he had a pass on but he shoots from distance, and in the second one he says Cunha had a few passing options as you can see here, but he again shoots from distance. Now, in both of these specific instances, JJ Bull is not wrong. Cunha could have passed instead of shooting, but he's not sharing 2 key nuances with the audience. The first is that Cunha is a player that thrives on taking long shots, something he did very successfully at Wolves last year when we all agreed he had a great season. And the second nuance is that Cunha is the biggest long shot taker in our team. So when JJ says, after showing these 2 examples, that United does a lot of this, almost as if every single one of our forward players shoots from distance just like Cunha does, this is incredibly misleading for the 350,000 people that watch this video. Then he moves on to this example of Bruno against Chelsea, where he has clearly just won the ball from Reece James taking a loose touch here, and JJ shows 2 more screenshots of this play to show how Bruno gets to the edge of the box and shoots, but he fails to mention the fact that Bruno won the ball from a Chelsea mistake. So this is a chance created from a high press, not the settled possession state that he mentioned in the first video that we discussed a second ago. And he also fails to mention that the Chelsea defenders actually take Bruno wider and wider towards the right-hand side of the pitch, which means Bruno can't really see Patrick Dorgu, who's behind him from the left-hand side, coming up over here. So the only right option for Bruno in this situation was to shoot. And instead of providing that context and nuance, JJ says he shoots from distance and he doesn't score. What's happening here is that the high number of XG that United are generating is a large number of chances, not a large number of good chances. So JJ is basically picking out these specific examples and saying our XG is high because we're taking a lot of poor shots from distance, specifically from outside the box, instead of waiting for other players to arrive near the box and find a better pass. I mean, there's so much wrong with this piece of analysis from JJ that I don't even know where to begin. But let's start with United's shot distribution chart again. We've taken 32% of our shots from outside the box. That only accounts for 1.46 of our combined 13.99 XG this season, which means our XG from outside the box accounts for only 10% of the total XG that we've created. That also means 90% of our XGs come from inside the box, which any decent football analyst would look at and say it's a good quality chance creation from this system. So where is the evidence to support the claim that our XG is high because the long shots are high? In fact, if we go back to the first graphic that he shared in this video, look at the XG per shot at the bottom of your screen here, which states that we have an average of 0.11. After the Sunderland game, we have slightly improved our XG to 0.13 per shot, and this 0.13 per shot comes from dividing our 13.99 XG by the total number of shots at 110 to give us 0.127. If I take away all of these shots from outside the box and I take away all of this XG from those shots, we're left with 12.53 XG from just 75 shots. So our XG per shot goes up to 0.17. And that puts us near the top of the league for XG per shot. So imagine my surprise when JJ Bull, a respected analyst that works for a respected outfit like The Athletic, says that United's XG is high because of long shots. In fact, I just want to put this whole thing to bed once and for all by comparing XG shot distribution and XG per shot across the top 6 teams. Here we have Arsenal, Tottenham, United, Chelsea, City, and Liverpool ranked by the percentage of shots that they take from outside the box. As we discussed earlier, United take the 3rd most shots from outside the box after Arsenal and Tottenham. So this whole we take too many long shots problem, as described.
All right, you guys win. I will do a $1,500 budget PC for you. So for $1,500, you can build yourself a gaming powerhouse without compromise.
Pada masa pentadbirannya, orang puji-puji dia. Sekarang orang mengeji dia sampai terang-terangan, sampai dia kata sikit-sikit je ni salah Jokowi. Tak pernah ada presiden sehina ini. So presiden Indonesia yang ke-7 iaitu Joko Widodo atau lebih mesra dikenali sebagai Jokowi telah menjadi presiden Indonesia dalam 2 penggal. Beliau mempunyai 2 timbalan yang berbeza, Yusuf Kala, Ma'ruf Amin. Sejarahnya Jokowi ini dia adalah seorang Datuk Bandar atau wali kota di tempat kelahiran dia iaitu Surakarta atau nama mesra dia Solo. Beliau seorang toke barang-barang perabot dari kayu jati. Pada tahun 2012 ada pemilihan Gubernur Jakarta. Sebagaimana kita tahu, Jakarta ni dia ibu negara. Jadi sesiapa yang menjadi Gubernur Jakarta ni ada peluang untuk menjadi lebih tinggi lagi, bahkan masuk ke kabinet, kementerian atau mungkin jadi presiden. Pada masa itulah Jokowi ini dipadankan dengan orang dari Bangka Belitung iaitu Basuki Cahayapurnama atau dia lebih mesra dikenali sebagai Ahok. So Jokowi dengan Ahok ini dia partner untuk jadi Gubernur Timbalan Gubernur Jakarta. Pada masa tu saya ingat lagi saya tengah kuliah di Jakarta. So Jokowi ni dengan
Oi,
Ahok
Zol,
ni dia
oh, fuck.
famous sebab
I miss
dia
you so
mesra
much,
rakyat,
man, bro.
kemudian dia rela turun
Wait,
ke
wait.
longkang,
Are you doing fine now? You okay? Sorry though about your loss, honestly. Not gonna lie though. I was worried sick about you, man. Yeah. It's been like, I think you can say a month or a week lah. Okay. Okay, so update sikit. Sekarang kita tengah pasang kit Gundam Zirius. Honestly, aku looking forward sebab this kit is very nice. I watched the review and look damn nice though. Not gonna lie. So I'm looking forward when it's done. But so sekarang kau dekat Shah Alam ke? Shah Alam Oh, kau kat Puchong. Oh, kau duduk Puchong bukan kat Shah Alam Ke Puchong kat Shah Alam tu dekat-dekat? This is the body. Really nice. Honestly, I like the team of Malaysia though. Not gonna lie. Oh, dah masuk kerja dah. Okay. Oh, ini ada apa Oh, boleh ni nak. Okay, quick question. What anime should we watch today? Ini Rabu? Oh yeah, it is. Fuck, what the fuck I'm doing this week? Boleh. Okay, dia tak ada anime tapi dia dah ada manga. Aku rasa kau boleh cari. Dia macam like inspiration of Kaiju number 8 because this is like fuck Gundam 8 something, I forgot the name. Boom. That is the Gundam. Honestly, the hit is sikit. Aku looking forward nak siapkan kit ni sebab aku nak beli yang Godzilla tu. Kalau kau tahu Gundam Godzilla tu. Fuck, I hate when this happen. Cantik. Okay, sebentar. Okay. Just for ni hirakan Jokowi tu sebab aku tengah belajar sejarah hari kejap. Kita tengok review dia. Gundam Zilius, not Zilius. Oh yeah, it is. Gundam 8. Oh my god, I know! Bro, I thought I was wrong. I thought I just see a
Well, hey,
big
Gundam Maniacs, welcome to another episode of Gundam Explained. In this episode, we're going to dive into the Gundam Zirius. This is a new one from a new manga. There's a P Bandai coming out that I'm excited about. So yeah, let's dive into this. And here we go. Here's the Zirius. It looks really cool. I would say that there's a lot about this that reminds me of Witch from Mercury, like the aerial, but almost more fully realized as a Gundam-looking machine. So, the EES-001 Gundam Zirius, humanity's ultimate weapon against the kaiju threat. Kaiju? Yeah, that's actually in this manga. That's pretty cool. Built for space exploration, forged in alien warfare. Let's break this down. Developed by East End Corporation for the Solar System Alliance's outer space exploration plan, the Zirius represents next-generation mobile suit technology. Part of the modular EES series, the Gundam can adapt to any combat situation through swappable equipment systems. But what makes the Zirius special isn't just its modularity, it's the alien technology integrated in its force systems. The Zirius' most distinctive feature is the feather extension mounted on its back. This isn't just for show, it's reverse engineered alien tech from the creatures called Mother Swan. These feathers serve as advanced heat sinks, keeping the Gundam cool during intense combat. And just hearing the lore behind the designs, you could tell this Gundam story isn't your average Gundam story. I know it's not in Universal Century, it's its own thing. It has kaiju. It's pretty cool. But here's where it gets incredible. The feather extension can control massive swarms of crystal-like objects, turning them into deadly flying blades against kaiju forces. It's like having 1,000 remote weapons.
Gundam.
So, we're taking what we know from Kamu using bits, funnels, and then we have these like thousands of crystals that are just shredding kaiju. That's really awesome. Zirius also features self-repair nanomechanisms that can fix battle damage automatically. Though this tech comes at a cost, prolonged use of feather extensions puts serious physical strain on the pilot, which is very typical for Gundam when it comes to like the exam systems or other systems that are trying to interact or pull from the pilot's brainwave in order to use more of them in combat. The standard loadout includes dual EES ARMS or ARMS 201 beam sabers mounted on the side skirts for close combat. The EES ARMS 001 beam rifle features variable range modes, normal, mid, and long range configurations for any engagement distance. The EES ARMS 501 shield isn't just defensive, its sharpened edge doubles as a melee weapon when things get up close and personal. But looking at it too, I do get a lot of that aerial look with the shield, especially the bits, how you can take off bits from the aerial shield, put it on different parts of the aerial to make the aerial look cooler, even though I think the shield looks cooler with all the bits on it. In Koreki 2030, being the timeline that this is in since it's not Universal Century, pilot Naomi Subaru took the Zirius into its most crucial battle, defending Earth's last mass driver facility, facing overwhelming kaiju forces. They used a crystal swarm to devastating effect, cutting through grunt units and even defeating a kaiju Gundam. A kaiju Gundam, isn't that what we've always wanted? But didn't Evangelion do it first? When a giant kaiju appeared, the Zirius was pushed to its absolute limits. Though heavily damaged, Subaru and the machine completed the mission. The space shuttle launched, and the giant kaiju fell. And here's a shot from the manga, which actually looks pretty awesome, seeing the shuttle try to take off while swarms of kaiju are coming. Like, this is something that they need to make into a one-shot movie. I'd rather something like this than G-Quux. What do you think? The Gundam Zirius represents humanity's fusion of cutting-edge engineering with alien biotechnology. Modular, deadly, and equipped with tech that borders on science fiction, it's the mobile suit that stands between Earth and extinction. All right, and real quick, and this is what I'm excited about, we've got the P Bandai that's going to be available to buy, and that's really cool because it really is the look of the Gundam of this design of this Zirius Gundam that has me excited.
Oh my god.
And then looking at the story that's in this Gundam 8 manga, I was pretty intrigued because it's different. I mean, it's very different than whereas, you know, G-Quux seems like fan fiction. This seems more like an interesting way to take Gundam. And like I said earlier, I would prefer this to be made into a show or OVA over something like we got out of G-Quux. G-Quux seems like the manga. Gundam 8 seems like it would be the OVA. But let's check this out. It's an all-new design or mold, whatever. I mean, and it looks great. Just looking at all the parts, I'm really excited about the feather stuff on the back. Hey, there's probably some LED opportunities there. Midnight Hatter. Be interested to see what you would do with that, especially because it kind of retains that Witch from Mercury look. I know recently, Steven at Midnight Hatter's kind of been a fan of getting those kits, modifying them with LEDs. It's actually pretty cool. And so there's just so much opportunity. I mean, just think of the feather unit, and that's actually what's on that new Gundam they have, you know, the feather unit, but it's some feather thing, the crystals on the back, whatever. But you can light that up. You could light up the beam sabers. You could light up the eyes. There's a lot going on with this, including, you know, kind of slimming it down, breaking it down, which is really neat to kind of see this sort of action figure look that you can get without all the other pieces on. This is another reason why I'm excited about it. I like Gundams that you can put things on them to make them beefier, but also take them off and they still look badass.
Oh yeah. So kata sebab gambar dia tak cantik.
I do like it, and I also do like that it's not Universal Century. This almost is too far beyond what Universal Century would do, but enough is there that I totally dig it. And this is showing what it's going to come with. 6 beam sabers? I guess we'll get an explanation for that. We got the shield, we got the gun that also looks like it has some crystal stuff in it. Very interested to see everything else, or even, you know, really fully read the manga when it's all completed. And then here's some box art, which again looks really cool. And I can see the crystals in the back, the feather thing going on. You know, it's interesting sometimes when Gundam properties come out around each other and they share similarities, which is interesting, like how this, this is a 2025 manga, the Gundam 8, and it's very interesting that it has the feather, they call it like feather crystals or something that comes off of it, whereas, you know, we got that recent feather unit, the ARC-78 F00, whatever they call that, that has a feather unit, just like when Witch from Mercury came out. We also got SD Gundam Battle Alliance, where it had an enemy where his last name was Mercury, and confused me too, but that's not neither here or there. What do you think of the Xerius? Because I think this is an awesome looking mobile suit, and the story needs an OVA. SH Monstart should make the kaiju that you can buy to go with the model kit. That's what they need to do next. So anyway, let me know what you think below. Have you checked out the manga yet? Is there any translation out there that you've checked out? Do you know more, like, has it been completed, or are they still releasing some stories to it? Let me know below. Let me know what you think. And until next time, be cool.
Have you ever wondered what it would look like if an IBO Gundam frame made a love child with a 00 mobile suit? Well, look no further, as we have the Gundam Xerius from the new manga Mobile Suit Gundam 8.
I hate when
this kit has really impressed me, featuring nearly perfect aesthetics with full color separation, an almost inner frame, an add-on gimmick, great weapons, and just a design that is pure aura. Let's get to the unboxing. Released in July 2025 for 2,970 yen plus tax, we have the high-grade Gundam Xerius from Mobile Suit Gundam 8. By the way, this kit is premium Bandai, unfortunately. The box is illustrated by Kane Kotsu, which is also the mecha designer for this mobile suit. This kit is from the new manga Mobile Suit Gundam 8, which is written by Hajime Kamoshida, who is the writer for the famous manga and light novel Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai, and of course Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans. Talk about range. Taking a look at the side of the box, it's a condensed version. We don't have a number, so maybe this will be the only kit from the manga, which I hope not. The bottom of the box has an introduction to the manga with the cover art. This is an alternate universe, and the rest is just legal stuff. The top has a showcase of the different actions. We have different poses with the feather extension. This kit does have a light armor mode, which I will show later, and we have the accessories that come with the kit. Opening up the box, we have 1, 2, 3 bags of runners, and of course the manual. The manual has the description of the mobile suit. It is 18 meters, so the same as the RX-78. Feel free to pause if you want to read the full description of the mobile suit. Inside, we have the runner list. No unused parts except for the polycaps, which this kit does have. The instructions are normal, nothing to take note of. At the back, we have descriptions of the feather extension, the beam saber, the beam rifle, the shield. I like that all of the weapons have a unit number, and the pilot, Naomi Subaru. Of course, we also have the color guide, not super complex. Looking at the runners, we have a total of 10, with the standard polystyrene for majority of the build. And we also get this slightly color shifting clear parts, mainly for the backpack and accessories. We do have a polycap runner. We will see how that's implemented in the build. Beam saber effects are also included. The sticker sheet contains no color correcting stickers, just metallic foils for the sensors, so hopefully the mobile suit is fully color accurate. That's it for the contents. Let's get to the build. So the build of this kit is pretty interesting. We get a full inner frame for the waist, the legs, and the arms. This really reminds me of an IBO high grade but with less polycaps. Speaking of which, we do use a little bit of polycaps, mainly for the abdomen, the shoulder joints, the back skirt, the waist connection, and the neck is the classic double ball joint polycap. Now I don't expect these to loosen up over time, except for maybe the ones at the shoulder joint, but that would be an easy fix with some joint tightening with either paint or glue. The clear parts look great. They are translucent and slightly color shifting, mainly used for the backpack, feather extensions, and the rifle in the shield. Overall, the engineering is really nice. Despite the lower parts and runner count, it feels like they've done a lot of optimizing. We have gray frame backings for the back skirt and the shield. There are no seam lines at all, and the additional armor slots in very securely. The joints are nicely tight, not really anything too loose. Since this is the first mobile suit from the manga, I didn't really have any expectations, but I'm definitely impressed. It feels familiar and fresh at the same time, and all in all, it's a pretty simple build for a design that looks complicated. Okay, so before discussing the aesthetics of this kit, there are two modes, the armored mode and the light armored mode. Let's take a look at the light armored mode and how it builds upon it. The light armored mode definitely reminds me of a Nodley mixed with an IBO frame. We also have lots of 3mm peg hole hardpoints that remind me of a 30-minute missions kit. Overall, the silhouette of course is bare bones, and I don't really see anyone displaying this as is. So let's put on the armor. So this is all of it spread out. All of them share the same connection, being a 3mm peg, which leaves a lot of room for customization. Seeing this makes me think that we might have some optional armor parts in the future, though I haven't read the manga, so lore-wise I can't say. If you know, please leave a comment. Regardless, all of these hardpoints are a really nice feature. I can see lots of customs using the light armor mode as a base. But for now, this is what we have for the armored mode. So the armored mode is where the design becomes a little bit controversial. I've seen takes on it saying it looks too busy, it looks kind of like a Chinese third-party design. While I can see what they mean, the design just grew on me, especially once I had it in my hands. It definitely borrows aesthetics from IBO and 00. Specifically, the mechanical designer is Kaneko Tsukasa. And digging deeper, I think this is his or her first design for the Gundam franchise. They did do some art in the Gundam card game, but other than that, this is the only mobile suit I can find that they designed. I think the main cause of criticism is the line art. The line art makes it look a lot more complex and busy than it actually is. Just compare it to the box art, which is also made by the same person, and also the model kit. It looks way less visually cluttered and more cohesive in those depictions. So definitely take that into consideration if you're on the fence about this design. In terms of size, it's around 13 centimeters, which is the standard height. Here's it next to the RX-78, the light type gun cannon, and the police Zaku. Okay, let's talk about color inaccuracies and seam lines. In terms of seam lines, we have good news. There are zero. It's all engineered to not have any or use it as part of the design. So if you plan on painting this, that's a lot of prep work you don't have to do anymore. I love this aspect, especially for high grade where seam lines are commonplace. In terms of color accuracy, it's almost perfect. The sticker sheet we had is only for the sensors, so no color correcting stickers. Looking at the promotional painted images, the only real missing color apps are the yellow and black venting at the back of the thigh and the calves. Besides that, it is fully color accurate. Though there is a little bit of hollow parts at the binder, not the end of the world, you can just put a piece of plop paint and you're pretty much done. Also, it doesn't have a lot of panel lines, so there's room for you to add more. Just make sure to not overdo it, as the design is already pretty complex even without the panel lining. So overall, whether you're a fan of the Gundam's design or not, objectively speaking, the aesthetic aspect of this kit is really good for a high grade. Minimal effort is required to get it accurate to the images and the line art, so it's good for both those who paint or don't paint. For the accessories of this kit, this is what it comes with out of the box. We only have two pairs of hands, which is the standard square holding fist, the shield, the beam rifle, and the two beam saber effect parts. The hands we have are simple and attached via a ball joint, no additional gimmicks here. The rifle we have is really nice, there is no seam line. We do have a sticker sensor in green, and we have that nice translucent clear part poking out. Overall, a really great looking rifle. To hold it, it just sandwiches onto the hand. The Gundam can hold it pretty well, but there's one big issue. I wish the handle could move or we have an angled hand, because it really can't bend the elbows while holding the rifle. Even if you try rotating it a bit to the sides, you can tuck it, you still can't do it. So it really limits the poses you can do with this rifle. Now we have the big shield. It's actually just 5 pieces, but the way it's constructed makes it look very detailed. We have a clear piece, the frame sticks out as vents, the whole thing has a gray backing, which is always nice to see. All in all, a pretty good looking shield. To attach it, you just slide the handle onto the holding hands. then attach the peg into the hard point at the forearm, and there you have it. It's really secure, no issues with the weight whatsoever. Lastly, the beam sabers. We actually have 6 handles throughout the mobile suit for the backpack, 2 at the side skirt. You just slide the handle out, put the effect in, slide it onto the hand, and it's actually pretty secure. You can even face it downwards without falling off. Overall, the accessories of this kit are pretty standard but well executed. Despite not having a lot of parts, they look great aesthetically with full frame backings, no seams, and are fully color accurate. Really, the only down point are the hands. I wish we got an open hand and an angled hand for the rifle for better articulation. For the articulation, the head is on a double ball joint, slightly blocked by those sensors at the collar. You get a decent forward ab crunch, slightly limited backwards, but it's actually okay since the backpack is heavy. Since it is a ball joint, the side to side is okay as well. Sideways, the arm can go perpendicular until it gets blocked by the armor. The upper bicep rotation is also blocked by the armor, but it can rotate well enough for most poses. The elbow joint is only single jointed, so you get a little bit more than 90 degrees. The shoulder joint can pop out forward and back pretty well. The torso can rotate a bit before getting blocked. The side skirts can rotate as well as the beam saber handle holder. The front skirts can go up individually. This bit at the side of the thigh can rotate on a peg. Back skirt is also on a peg so it can rotate. And the skirts themselves are individually articulated. You get pretty good forward kick around 90 degrees. Backward kick is also really good. Sideward, the leg can go fully perpendicular so you can get a full leg split. For thigh rotation, you can get an almost full rotation, just blocked a bit by the armor. A nice double jointed knee bend. The feet can rotate pretty well until it's blocked by the armor again. Downward bend is good, upward is okay. Sideways, it is decent both inwards and outwards. The backpack can rotate at an axis, the feathers can articulate as well. Each holder has its own articulation, and the binders are on a double joint peg. So the articulation of this kit is pretty okay, not spectacular. A lot of it is blocked by the amount of armor. An issue I can say is that the ground posability is a little bit limited because of the backpack weight and the small feet, but it can still do a normal standing pose, but trying anything more dynamic is a balancing challenge. So definitely get an action base for this guy to unlock its full potential. To finish, let's summarize it into my likes and dislikes. For my likes, the first one is definitely the engineering. The build is very nice, we get no seam lines, only one hollow part. The build feels more premium in a way that there's inner frames and frame backings. Next are the aesthetics. It is almost fully color accurate, very little effort is needed to make this kit look good. The model kit actually looks better than the line art, which is a bit subjective, but I think more people would be into this rendition more. Lastly, the customizability. The light armor mode, with the amount of peg holes it has, is super kit bashable. Whether it being scratch build or 30-minute mission option packs, there are holes pretty much everywhere in the mobile suit, so you can go crazy with this guy. A really good base for customization. For my dislikes, I think the main problem is definitely the posability, more so the ground posability. The kit has decent articulation, but the feet are small and it is back heavy. It can only really do a standing pose when it's on the ground without playing a careful balancing game. The armor sometimes does get in the way of the articulation, but not to the point where it's a brick. I suggest just getting an action base and posing it in the air. My last dislike is definitely the hand options. This kit is slightly more expensive for an HG, so I wish they did give us more hands. Specifically an open hand and an angled rifle hand so we can pose the rifle better. So I suggest maybe using third-party hands or option hands by Bandai. In conclusion, this kit, aesthetically speaking, whether you like the design or not, is amazing. There are no seam lines, no color correcting stickers, it even has a bit of inner frame. If you don't mind having slightly limited posability, and if you like a good looking kit that doesn't need a lot of extra effort to make it look good, you should definitely buy this. If you can find it for a good price, since this is premium Bandai, which sucks, but that's how it is with Bandai nowadays. So that's it for the review. Are you gonna buy it? If you found this helpful, consider subbing and leaving a like. Make sure to leave any questions down below and I'll try my best to answer it. Thank you for watching. Bye!
Some of Bandai's plastic is stuck. Hey, what is up everyone? Welcome back to another review, and today I'm going to be taking a look at the high-grade version of the brand new main Gundam, Gundam Sirius. Just in case you don't know what this Gundam is from, this is from the brand new Gundam manga called Gundam 8, where Gundams fight Kaiju. What? But all jokes aside, let's get serious. It's always super cool to see a brand new main Gundam, especially one that kind of mixes up the traditional RX-78-2 vibe. Now this one right here, it has two forms. That is the light armor state, and the other form then is the one with the feather extensions. So when it does come to this high-grade Gundam right here, good point, it's absolutely unique looking. We've got panels, angles, giant blue plates on its back, which is also kaiju-esque, but we do have a couple of bad points. Bad point one, this is a premium Bandai exclusive. Even though the box is very nice and is a bit of a new take on that classic high-grade box look, it is actually P Bandai only. So that does mean that this kit right here, I got through those awesome people over at Buy, so if you want one of your own, link in the description. The other bad point is, this broke instantly on me. I mean, 2 poses in and the leg came off. Now, I have fixed it since, so it's not so bad now. I'll talk about that in depth a little bit later, but for now, let's get right on into it. So first off, I will mention just a little bit of a blurb that is on the side of the box about this series itself in case you don't know anything about it. What it says right here is, the third planet in our solar system, Earth, eons has passed since the birth of humanity. Groundbreaking developments in science and biotechnology has freed humanity from conflict and suffering, bringing them eternal prosperity. Or so it was supposed to be. The year 2030 SC. Humanity is about to lose control of Earth, the cradle of the human race. 258 survivors are left with only single Gundam. It does say it like that, by the way, I'm reading it directly. This does definitely leave out the whole fact that there's kaijus in it, but I guess they don't want to give away too much of the plot, so you can go read it yourself. Also, when it comes to the Gundam itself, just to kind of paraphrase this, it's an extravehicular mobile suit for basically working outside of space vehicles. An unknown organism known as Mother Swan was found in the rings of Saturn. Basically, humanity pushed forward technology in order to go screw around over there and obviously do stuff they shouldn't do and end up screwing their own buttholes. The blurb here finally ends with saying the development concept of the Gundam Sirius includes phrases such as a next-generation all-purpose machine that fulfills the dreams of humanity. Its most prominent features are the feather extensions installed in its back. So anyway, moving back in time to the build, this is about your average size high-grade box. When you bust it on open, you get an average amount of high-grade plastic. We've got 6 runners of color-separated plastic, the way you like to see it. On top of that, we do have 3 runners of effect parts, that is, standard beam saber beams, and we do have the feather extension units. These are very, very nice. At the same time, they're a little bit pearlescent, a little bit glittery, and have a bit of a color shift in the light. One thing that did shock me a little bit about this kit is there is polycaps included. You don't use them all, it's mainly for the neck, torso, shoulder joints, and the hard points in the waist. And kind of getting to that other point, maybe they should have used them in the hip joints too. Lastly, then we do have some stickers in here. These are your usual kind of foils. That's shiny ones for all the various sensors and lights all over the Gundam, including the eyes. So we do not have color separated eyes on this kit. It's a little bit more classic high grade. Anyway, when it does come to the build, starting off with the legs, these are very, very nice, quite detailed, at the same time extremely simple. Now this is the light armor version you build up first. There's some decent enough articulation going on in here. And one really cool thing about this is you can actually build this up as the inner frame. So there isn't a whole inner frame for the entire kit. The legs and the arms have inner frame. The head obviously is just head. There's no inner frame there at all. And the torso has some, but it does rely on some of the armor in order to hold some of the joints in, like the shoulder cups. So you can't build a full inner frame like some other high grades out there. Anyway, when you do build up that inner frame of the leg, then you just slap on all of the armor. There's not too many parts actually to the leg itself, but we do get enough for some decent articulation and color separation. Looks good in the end. When it comes to the offending waist unit in here, this is extremely, extremely simple. Nothing actually happens on this, nothing moves. There's no side skirts or anything like that when it's in its light armor mode. When you're actually building it, it's just 2 polycaps sandwiched between 2 bits of gray plastic. The white slaps onto the front like so, and we do have a polycap ball for the waist. When you pop the legs on, they pop on like this, and I will get back to the breakage a little bit later. Spoiler though, these are hollow, so they kind of just are weak. Moving now up to the torso, this is the most detailed aspect of the entire build. The color separation is off the charts with some nice red and yellow in here. There isn't really much to do with articulation at all. We do have an ab crunch to this, which is quite nice. It separates the body at the top very well, and it feels pretty good. When it comes to the build, you're just sandwiching parts on parts. When it comes to the ab crunch that is inside of this, it is a polycap ball pointing forward in the kind of Zeta Gundam style ab crunch. You build up some more parts, you've got polycaps for the shoulders, it all sandwiches together in a very locking kind of way, which works out nicely. They're on some nice yellow color separation into the chest. Little spine bit round back reminds me a little bit of the Gundam Atlas. We've got more color separation, armor in from the sides, some clavicle parts and there are some stickers involved here for the chest and the clavicles, and the neck here is a polycap. Next up in here then is the arms. When they're finished again, decent articulation on these. I really do like the kind of stripped back basic design, single point elbow bend and a standard wrist joint on these. Just like with the legs, you're able to build up a full inner frame for these, so all the way from the shoulders to the hands is entirely inner framed. I will mention the instructions doesn't say to build it this way, that's just the way I built it, just so you can actually see what the inner frame looks like. Then I just slapped on all the armor just like so, and it does look great. Once they're finished, just slap it onto what we've got built just like this, and it is a nice, minimal armored, very geometric kind of Gundam. It looks cool so far. Last up then in here is the head. This is just very old school. You've got stickers for the eyes, everything just kind of builds on in little pieces. Side split down the head for the armor. Big old V-fin, I did cut off these safety flags. There's a sticker for in the middle of the white central section of the V-fin, and then we add in some nice grey armor either side just like so. There are 3 stickers in total on the head, not including the eyes, which are stickers too. So that's 4. So popping the head on, and that right there is what the light armor version of this particular Gundam does look like. After that then you're getting into the rest of the build, which is still a large proportion of the build. It's only like the Gundam is only the first, I would say, 2/3 of the build, maybe even half. No, I'd say more like 2/3. Then you actually get on to building all the extra stuff. So the feather extension armor parts, there's tons of these. There's front skirtings, side skirtings, extensions to the leg armors, extension to the shoulders, forearms, ankle armors, and of course the main event is the feather extensions for around the back. So all of these are made out of blue translucent plates, again adding a bit of a kaiju or a nod to Godzilla. There's some articulation building up, and the overall backpack is quite unique. Do you feel it's a little bit let down by the little bit of armor sections, the plates towards the back, because they do seem a little bit hollow and unfinished? But I'll talk about that a little bit more when I'm talking about the accessories. We have a whole bunch of beam sabers, and when it does come to the build of the weapons, first off we've got the big old beam rifle. Again, a nice big geometric design. We've got some of these feather plates inside of it, sticker for the sight, and then you throw the armor onto it when it is done. We've a bit of color separation in yellow towards the back. Matching with this is the shield. Again, we've got some of those feather plates in it. It's pretty simple. It's just 5 pieces including the handle, but it's one big old shield. So yeah, that brings us to pretty much what's going on right here. So at this point, it's usually when I film this kit just after it's finished being built. Some slow-mo shots in order to kind of show just what it looks like right out of box. It does have some panel lining done, but for the most part you'll see what the finished product looks like. It's usually for using in the intro of the video, all that sort of good stuff. However, I got this into 2 poses, and when actually trying to pose it back into just its initial pose, the hip just broke. This is a shocker to me. This hasn't happened in a long time when it comes to Gundam kits. No extra pressure is being put on it. I didn't use any pan liners on any of the grey sections. It's just so strange that it just went and cracked. On closer inspection, I was just looking inside of it. The hip joints are kind of oddly designed. Now these aren't, any kind of normal size. These aren't 3mm, so you can't actually replace a broken joint with 3mm pegs. They're slightly smaller than 3mm. If you try to pop a 3mm peg, inside of these it'll go so far before stopping. If you actually zoom in onto the inside, you can see that it actually gets a little bit tighter towards the end. What seems to have happened is this gripped the peg a little too hard and then twisted what you can see is actually a hollow point inside of the actual waist. So this is an incredibly weak section right here. This does seem to be Bandai kind of trying to use as the least amount of plastic as possible in the various different elements, which I do understand from a production perspective, but it did end up breaking like so. In order to actually fix this, what I did was I actually got a 3mm drill bit. I had to use this to hollow out where the peg had broken into the actual leg. This got stuck, almost fused. I don't know if you've realized lately, but sometimes some of Bandai's plastic is starting to fuse in the joints. This also happened to me with the Master Grade Wing Zero Verka. I had it left on the shelf for quite a, long time. Then when I went to actually just move the arm around, the hand had fused inside of its wrist joint, which meant that just even a tiny little bit of a twist, not even that much of a push, and the hand just came off on me. But yeah, after pulling it out, it doesn't look like anything particularly happened to the joint. It's still very intact, so it is a little on the strange side. Anyway, I drilled a 3mm hole into the hip in order to widen that for 3mm. I drilled a 3mm hole into the actual waist unit too. Then I went to Bandai's 30-minute missions kits, because you always get 3mm stuff inside of these boxes. Now what I wanted was, there's these little long sticks you can actually get inside some of the boxes where you can just cut them into pieces. Couldn't find that, so I got one of the hangers, which looks like this. All these bars all over it are 3mm bars. So if you ever want 3mm extension bits or something to go into Gundam and 30-minute mission hardpoints, this will do the job for you. So I just cut this out, fit it into the hip just like so. I didn't actually cement it for this review because it would put me back at least a day or more waiting for this to actually cure effectively. So this is just a temporary fix for now. I will fix a little bit later. So just popped it in like so, like this. And I did go Googling online and looking around Twitter, etc. in Japanese to see if this had popped up anywhere else, and I hadn't seen it anywhere. So all I can say is be careful with this joint, just in case there is some issues. Anyway, let's rock it right on in to the aesthetics. So finally now jumping on into the aesthetics, and this right here is what we get once it's put together with a little bit of panel lining. When it comes to the overall look of this thing, it's definitely an interesting take on the classic RX-78 kind of design. We've got the old school colors, that is the blue, red, and yellow, but they are kind of toned down to a little bit more of a serious tone. This right here is the light armor mode, and you can definitely see that. From the front, it's lightly armored just where it needs it, and around back, there is absolutely next to nothing. This, of course, is where all those feather expansion sections will be attaching on, so it will be covered up a little bit more later on. There's certain aspects of this, especially the little spine section around back, that remind me a little bit of the Atlas Gundam from Gundam Thunderbolt, but there's still a whole lot of other kind of designs in there that remind me of other mobile suits. When you jump up into the head, we've almost got wing-esque ears on the sides, one big old V-fin, a double mohawk on top. The lightly armored body, especially around the arms, has an almost anatomical kind of human feel to it, which kind of detracts a little bit from the overall geometric blocky shape, in a good way. Down the legs, these are very, very geometrical. We've got super armored upper legs. They taper downwards with a little bit of color separation in yellow in the shins. There is a hard point on the shins as well. This is for the feather expansions. And the feet right there, quite simple again. Armored, a lot of grey showing through. When it does come to the overall design, I think it looks pretty good. The only thing that's kind of dropping the ball a little bit for me is that polycap neck. It doesn't really look too well thought out. It's just a very polycap neck that kind of just almost doesn't even fit into the armor that is below it. Bit of a weird choice. Alright, so jumping on a little bit closer to check out the details a little bit. So like I mentioned, the head is very nice. You've got those ears color separated out into grey. The eyes here are not color separated. You do have to use stickers. Underneath is just kind of molded. Other stickers are in the head and around on the rear camera right here. Overall, quite nice, very detailed. And again, a very nice kind of take on the classic Gundam look, especially the white central aspect of the V-fin. The body unit right here is the most detailed aspect of it all. The cockpit section there, color separated into grey. The little tiny yellow bits are nicely added into these side sections before they're attached on. The grey coming through from underneath up top, on the shoulders. Some stickers in the clavicle and this section right here. But overall nice design, especially this little spine section around back. And these little lines here reminded me a lot of the Atlas. The waist unit in this form is very, very simple. Just some hard points. As you can see, there's hard points all over the place. 3mm, 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 3mm everywhere. But yeah, not too much going on around here. The legs are super lightly armored. Now, I didn't panel line the back, just kind of shelf panel lining because it's only going to ever be seen from the front. But yeah, that could really do with it to bring out the little details there. A lot of grey going on, a little bit plain in some regards when it is in the light armor form, but very, very nice. But very, very nice nonetheless. So jumping into the size comparison, and if you're wondering how this clocks in side by side with an RX-78, well, there you go. We've got the high grade Revive on the left, the real grade on the right, and as you can see, the Z-Race is about the same size as those. Height-wise, just a lot narrower and skinnier, like the light armor suggests. So blasting through some other kits, there's the high-grade G-Quacks, the high-grade Gundam Aerial, high-grade Gundam Barbatos, Gundam Exia, G-Self, Atlas Gundam, Gundam EX, and the last premium Bandai exclusive Gundam, the D Gundam First. So now jumping on into the accessories, and here's everything that comes with the high-grade Gundam Sirius. As you can see, the accessories in here pretty much make up about 50%, if not a little less, than the overall actual build, which is pretty insane. What we do get in here is the giant beam rifle, a pair of beam sabers, that massive shield, and then everything that makes the armored up version of this, including that feather backpack, and all of the various little bits of armor that attach onto the body. But anyway, let's check out the hands first. So first up, when it does come to the hands in here, it is these guys right here, your kind of typical block holding hands. These right here are definitely about par for the course. They don't do anything really new, unusual, or exciting. The only kind of disappointing aspect, I guess, is the fact that we don't have anything else in here. Now, these are standard hands. They are grey, small-ish, blocky Gundam hands, so you can actually get the sold separately expressive hands, and they will match, so not too bad. Next up in here, we've got the beam sabers. As you can see, they're fairly standard. The beams themselves are just the usual pink beam. The handles are just single pieces of plastic, but as you can see, the actual design is quite nice. There's a couple of panel lines there asking for a little bit of shading. And attaching these guys in is the usual routine. They just slide on simply into the hands like so. Testing the reverse grip back here. Usually it always works. There's only odd cases where it doesn't. And there we go. Simple, but effective. So before getting this into a bit of a pose, I'm going to get it up in the air. What I usually use during these videos is the simple stand by Good Smile Company. Good, strong, reliable. We do have 2 points you can actually stick this into. The actual base hole, which is this one right here, and around back we do have a hard point as well, which is the exact same polycap joint. And for some nice poses, this is the actual placement of an attachment I like. You can pop it in like so. It doesn't get in the way of the legs, so this is what we get. Getting it into a pose is super simple. The beam sabers look good. This is a very dynamic looking mobile suit, especially when it's in its light armor mode. So this just looks crazy cool all around with a pair of beam sabers. So when these are non-used, it's the usual kind of way. You just pop them on out of the hands like so, remove them from the beam sabers. I will mention we do have 6 of these handles in total in here, only 2 beams. I suppose it only has 2 hands. And when they're not in use, they attach into these little kind of parts right here with a 3mm peg for storage. Now in the actual manual, it does say that these pop onto the feather side skirt unit things when they're actually attached on, but in essence you can actually stick these wherever you want. If you want like beam sabers right here on the back of the arms, my favorite place for one, you can do that. This arm can reach over and grab it whenever needed, or it could just spin on around like so, squirt out that blade, and then be used as a kind of beam tonfa, not unlike the Unicorn Gundam. Again, there's hard points all over the shop if you want to use them. So next up in here, we've got the beam rifle. The color separation in here is extremely nice, especially those little feather units that are nicely glint in the light inside. We've got some here as well as down here as well. The color separation is pretty nice. We've got the yellow segment towards the back stock area, and then we've got this right here, which is just a sticker for the side. Now, as you can tell by the look of this, this is a transforming beam rifle. It has a mid-range and a long-range mode. Now this looks expanded, open out, extended. The sight is popping out, so I assume it is the actual long-range mode. However, inside this particular kit right here, there is no transforming mechanisms. There's no moving parts whatsoever, even though it does look like it almost does have some. It doesn't. This looks like it might move. It does not. However, makes me a little bit hopeful for maybe something like a 1/100 version down the line that might actually transform, maybe? Come on, Bandai. So when it comes to throwing the rifle on into the hand, it's the usual Gundam sandwich hand routine. Open the hand like it's a pair of breads, throw in the beam rifle like it's the ham, and slap them together. Now this is an over-the-top, massive, huge beam rifle that almost dwarfs the Gundam, and that is so much fun. Probably is a little bit more in proportion when all the feather units are on, but this is a really cool looking beam rifle. I will mention, because there is no collapsed or closed up mode, there is no storage whatsoever here. So if it's not in the hand, it's going to be in your bits box or storage. Next up then here when it comes to the equipment is the shield. Again, this is absolutely huge. The color separation is pretty decent, even though there aren't that many parts. We've got a nice gray underside, making it look heavy and armored. This is a little bit of a handle that rotates, so it means you can have it in either the left hand or the right hand. Some of that nice pearlescent plastic down at the stabby business end, and we do have a bit of a sticker in here for this little green sensory section. When it comes to attaching on the big old shield, it's pretty simple. You just pop the handle into the hand like so, and attach the peg into the hard point on the side of the forearm. That's what it looks like. Big, awesome, and heavy duty. So finally, when it does come to the accessories, we've got all of the armor as well as those feather extensions for around back to get this into full kaiju mode. So there they are. There it is on the left in the light armor mode, on the right fully armored up, and it does make a huge difference to the overall look of the mobile suit. Bandai knows what they're doing here. They've done this quite a lot, and that is they know you will want 2 versions of this kit to display both. I know I do. Anyway, when it does come to armoring up the Zirius right here, first off you attach on some thigh armor, these big old plates like so. We've got some front skirting armors, these attach on via simple little pegs, left and right. We've got some extra long pointy armor from the sides of the legs, side skirting armors which are made out of 2 pieces, that's grey and white, so nicely layered. And speaking of nicely layered, we've got some nice color separation up on the shoulders. These are pretty big, pop on into the hard points up on the shoulders. We've got some forearm armor too, again in that navy blue on white with some green stickers. Jumping down to the ankle armors, these have a whole lot going on, lots of nice angles here. These pop on once again via a 3mm hole, peg like so. We've got a double premium butt flap back here, so both of these can move. They're nicely
Correct,
twin
dulu
layered
sebab
as well, grey underneath,
this is
white on the
getting
outside,
lot-
attach on like so. So lastly then we have the feather extension unit backpack. Again, looking fantastic, lots of articulation on here. We've got hard points for attaching the beam sabers onto, and those beautiful feathers which catch the light perfectly. Now, we'll mention one kind of thing that does look a little bit disappointing about this are the big armor plates down bottom. They look a little bit hollow on the underside. They are meant to be in white on the bottom, so that is color accurate. However, there is some bits of the design here that does look like something might attach onto these later. So that looks interesting. Anyway, there we go. That is what it looks like fully attached together, popping on the beam sabers onto the side. We've got hard points on the side skirts as well as around on the backpack, and this armored mode just looks absolutely incredible. Time to get the weapons on, and this will be shelf ready. Anyway, that right there is what this looks like with all of that armor on, and it has changed this kit so drastically. It looks over the top incredible. The angles upon angles upon angles. It no longer looks like a lightly armored Gundam anymore, and looks incredibly, incredibly powerful. The Godzilla spikes around back is a really unique touch. Apparently these have been developed using biotechnology, so they are somewhat biological, I guess. And what can I say? Inside of this kit you get two very different looking Gundams, which are the exact same Gundam. A lot of fun. Alright, so like I said, the last touch here is to get the weapons back onto it. So again, attaching the shield is just like what we would have seen before. It pops on into the hand, just like that, and then up into the hard point in the forearm. So exactly the same as when it doesn't have the extra forearm armor on. So the fact that it works in both states is pretty cool. Again, attaching on the beam saber, same. You just whip off the hand, separate those breads, throw in that beam rifle ham, close it up, and attach it on just like so. And there it is, ready for up on that shelf. So now jumping into the usual pose right here, it is in its light armor mode, and it's absolutely doing spectacularly. Overall, all of the joints are quite good, besides one that did break on me, but it does perform fairly decently. The ankles are very, very nice. You can actually turn them in only at the front, funnily enough, but enough to get it deep down into a lunge. And I do wish there's a little bit more of a toe bend. There's a ball joint there, but the armor panels kind of clash off each other, reducing them a little bit. Overall, good crunch, good arm bend, overall dynamic, and looks cool. There's nothing like a lightly armored Gundam that can pose in very over-the-top dynamic style. So jump right on into the actual articulation itself. As for a comment on the build, this is a solid, nice kit. It does have some polycaps in some areas, but they never really let it down at all. Now, what did was a plastic on plastic joint, so that really is a little bit of an argument towards polycaps in a way. The grip was too tight, twisted it off. Anyway, the neck in here is a classic polycap, so it does what classic polycaps do. So just down and up like so, and side to side. It's a little bit blocked by the old clavicle sensors right here, so it does actually clash with the ears ever so slightly, so you're not going to get a crazy amount, but you will get what you need. The shoulder polycap cups are aligned to move forward and back, but they don't actually move too much inside of the actual body itself. What we get is a ball in socket roll, the full rotation like so. The arm can move all the way up, but it is a little bit of a stiff joint, and it gets blocked by its own little piece of shoulder armor. Semi-full rotation at the upper arm, again blocked by that shoulder piece. Single point bend at the elbow, so that's all we get. Straightening that out again, there it is back. And there, once again, is the bend. The wrist is just your standard ball joint. This can pop out every now and then. When it comes to the torso, we've got a bit of a waist ball right here, and there is an ab crunch section right here as well, which is a little awkward. When you pull it all the way forward, it can get stuck on its own design back here, and then you have to kind of push it back in. So there it is down, there it is up, and there it is fucking stuck. This might actually be a little bit of an intentional thing, so it can hold itself forward without dropping back. Maybe. And we do have a little bit of side to side pivot, once again just on that polycap ball. So when it does come to the hip joint, it seems I was just super unlucky on the other side. This one is holding up fine, it's not showing any stress, and it's not gripping too hard or anything like that. I'm still not sure exactly what happened. Anyway, this leg right here is almost full rotation up here. There it is, all the way out to the side. You can actually head up even further because there is nothing getting in the way. There is the kick all the way up to the front. We've got a simple 1-point knee bend here, which does like that. Very good. The ankle here is a simple cup in ball. The actual heel back here only moves with that cup and ball, and we do have a ball joint for the toe here, so it can move side to side a little bit more than the actual heel itself, and it can move down and up ever so slightly, but sometimes does end up popping off. So overall, a very nice little poser right here. Once again, there is that usual pose, and it does this without any issues whatsoever. So if you want a lightly armored dynamic mobile suit, this is the one for you right here. So anyway, that right there is it for the review of the high-grade Sirius. This right here is the essential platinum tier Gunpla because everything about it is X-Platinum tier. That's 4 out of 5 across the board entirely. So when it comes to the aesthetics on this, it's absolutely gorgeous. Platinum tier completely. The only reason it does lose a couple of points is just the color separation in some aspects. In order to be completely extreme Gundarium tier, it would have to have more intricate details, like especially the color separation in the eyes. We are missing some yellows when it does come to some of the vents and various thrusters around in the legs and up in the shoulders a little bit. Besides that though, this is absolutely unique looking. You've got two different variants, a light armored version and a heavy armored version. Both look completely different, one sleek while one angular, geometrical, and those cool effect parts around back give it a really unique kaiju-esque flair. When it comes to the accessories in here, 4 out of 5 again. This is so much fun. Everything is very, very nice, very well put together. There's a whole lot of options in here. Like I mentioned, light armored mode, heavy armored feathered mode. We've got a beam rifle, shield, and beam sabers, all of which have been given good attention to detail. Nothing here does anything too crazy over the top really, besides the nice ability to armor it up with all of that armor. Incredible. When it comes to the articulation on here, it is super phenomenal. It is so nice. It's nice to pose when the hip doesn't go. I'll talk about that in a second. It can get deep into lunges. Every joint has a nice range of motion. Even some parts like the torso, which doesn't have a whole lot going on, still you get more out of it than you would expect. Once you do get the armor on, this doesn't really limit it too much. Some parts might clash a little bit, but it's been intelligently designed so you can still get very, very nice poses out of it, like you can see right now in these spins. It's good to pose, and it's solid, even though there are some polycaps in some aspects. Lastly then, when it does come to the build, this is 4 out of 5 again. It was very nice to put together. Overall, it is rock solid. Again, there is polycaps in the build, but they work out quite well besides the neck looking a little bit flaccid. Now, when it does come to the broken hip, I decided to outright ignore it. Basically, I trawled the entire internet to see if anybody else had broken a hip on it, and I saw none broken at all. The second hip did not give out at all either. I guess I just got a little unlucky. There must have been some plastic fatigue. Maybe the mold was not complete inside of it because it just fell off pretty much after 2 twists. So there was something going on inside of it. Just definitely unlucky. It happens sometimes with Gunpla. Whether factory error, human error, something went wrong. But yeah, platinum tier kit, this definitely puts the premium in premium Bandai. So if you do want one of your own, I got mine through Bai, link is down there in the description. I highly recommend it. It's so fun, unique, and one cool looking Kaiju Gundam. Anyways, always thank you so much for watching. Make sure to come back for more Gunpla reviews, and I'll see you next time. It wouldn't be the end of the video without special thanks to each and every single one of you guys for watching my videos, and special thanks to the channel members and the members over on Patreon, including Caleb, Engelhart, Joe, RG59061, Scotty Thomas, Simon, and Van Fawn.
残されたガンダムはあと1機。月刊ガンダムエース初となる完全新作オルタナティブシリーズ、機動戦士ガンダム8よりガンダムジリウスがハイグレードで登場。今宵はこのガンプラをレッツイントロデュース。ガンダム8、どうもこんにちは、クラフターです。今回ご紹介するのはこちらのキット、機動戦士ガンダム8の主人公機ガンダムジリウス。はい、まずパッケージですね。こんな感じですが、見てください。久々に来ましたよ、ガンダムらしいガンダムが。ガンダム8という割にはこの主人公機はガンダム8じゃないんだなと。ジリウスという名前なんですけど、この8っていうのは遺伝子操作された8世代目の人類のことを、8っていうらしいんですよね。なのでパイロットが8世代でこのジリウスに乗ると、そういうことなんですね。パッケージ自体は普通のハイグレードサイズですね。そして側面見てみましょう。なんかイラストが載ってますけどね、このガンダムめちゃくちゃかっこいいですよね。月刊ガンダムエースで連載中の漫画なんですけどね、エアリアルやジークアクスとは違ってなんか原点回帰したような武骨なガンダムに仕上がってます。そして反対側には完成見本写真が載ってますが、いかがですか。この鎧のような外部装甲、そして背面なんですが特徴的なフェザーエクステンションというね、こういうねクリアパーツが付属してます。いや、これは完全にかっこいいやつでしょ。ビームライフルのデザインはエアリアルとかそんな感じのちょっと SF 味が強いデザインですね。そしてこのジリウス軽装体にもなるんですね。ご覧のようにアーマーを取り外したこのシンプルな状態。いや、各種様々な武装がついていますけども、これアーマーを変えることで見た目がガラッと変わってしまうみたいな、そういう設定なんでしょうかね。 ビルドダイバーズのコアガンダムみたいな、そんな雰囲気もありますね。では箱を開けて中を見てみましょう。オープン。中身はこんな感じですね。パーツ自体小さめですね。本体も小さいのかもしれません。ランナーを出してみましょう。今回のランナータワーはこんな感じ。袋を開けて中身を取り出していきます。外部装甲はホワイト。パーツを机の上に並べてみました。ランナー数はポリキャップとか回して全部で10。内容物のチェックをしていきましょう。こちらは色プラの A ランナー。この辺が頭部パーツですかね。非常に変わった形状してますけど、これは合わせ目出るタイプなのか。あとはダークブルーとちょっとくすんだ感じのイエローのパーツ、そして赤と完全に主人公カラーですよ。最高ですよね。外部装甲はこんな感じなんですが、ディテールとしては至って普通のハイグレードといった感じですね。ただデザインがかっこいいんですよね。このシールドとか内張りもしっかりついてますから。そしてかなり変わった形状のビームライフルですね。これはその他一部関節がポリキャップ、ビームサーベルのエフェクトパーツが2本。これは UV ライトでは光らないタイプですね。こちらのクリアパーツが背面に取り付けるフェザーエクステンションですね。ご覧のようにラメ入りの成型色でキラキラしてます。これはひょっとして光るのか UV で。はい、全然光りませんね。蛍光塗料は入ってないようです。そして説明書がこちら。ちょっと変わった表紙になってます。いや、これはかっこいいでしょう。こんな感じですが、どことなく鉄血のオルフェンズのガンダムフレームを思わせるようなことね、フォルムをしておりますが、一応設定上では最後のモビルスーツということなんで、ガンダムはこれ1体しかないということなんでしょうけども、中身はと言いますと、片面フルカラー、そして片面白黒ですね。ハイグレードですから組み立て自体は簡単そうです。もちろん完全新作のガンプラなんで全て新規造形パーツ。ポリキャップはちょっと余るみたいです。そして裏表紙に写真と各種解説が載ってますね。武装はビームサーベル、そしてビームライフル、さらにシールドですね。これもかっこいいですけど先端が尖ってますから一つ攻撃もできるんですね。イラストはありませんがパイロットはナオミ・スバル。常に冷静で判断力に優れる人物なんですが、世界人口の 3% にも満たない8と呼ばれる優れた遺伝子の持ち主なんですね。なので残り 97% の人類は第7世代以下の遺伝子を持っているということですね。設定ではジリウスの全長は18メートル、重さが 38.8 トン。こちらカラーガイドですが6色しか使わないんですね。結構塗りやすそうですね。というわけで絶対このガンダムかっこいいだろうというやつが来てしまいましたね。それでは早速作っていく。まずはパーツを切り出します。使うのは先細スバニッパー。ゲートを残しつつパーツをカット。今回も柔らかいです。つまり筋彫りは入れにくいと。パーツを切り出したらお次はこちら、シャキーン。アルティメットニッパーでゲートを2度切りします。パーツに平行に刃を当ててカット。白いパーツが大半なんでゲート跡は目立ちませんね。はい、パーツのカット完了しました。少なめですね。1箱で終わりましたね。では組み立てていきましょう。まずは頭部からですね。赤い頭部フレームにツインアイをはめます。そしてフェイスマスク。はい、この時点でめちゃめちゃガンダム。ヘルメットで左右から挟み込みます。センターに合わせ目ありますけどこれ段落ちモールドになってますね。そしてブレードアンテナを取り付け、最後に側頭部を閉じます。はい、これで頭部の完成です。頭頂部かなり変わった形状ですね。続いて胴体、フレームに取り付けて背中側も閉じますと。脇の部分にフレームが見えるんですね。胸部フレームに赤いパーツをはめてこの2つを合体と、こうなります。細かいな。ポリキャップの肩関節を乗せて上からカバーすると。さらにフロントパネルを差し込みます。かっこよ。イエローのダクトをはめると。そして背中側にこちらのパーツ、これをはめます。ウエストをフロントから閉じる。さらにブルーのパーツをはめると。こちら肩周りですね。ちゃんとイエローのパーツが色分けされている。これをはめます。いや、このキットかなり細かい。そしてこちらの小さいウイングを差し込みます。首フレームはポリキャップですね。はい、これでボディ完成しました。どうですか？ハイグレードなのにめちゃくちゃ細かいパーツ分割。ちょっとアドバンスオブゼータ感もありますね。続いて腕です。ちゃんとフレームが通ってる。前腕部分を閉じて、これでフレーム完成ですが、二重関節でない割には意外と曲がりますね。前腕のフロント、前腕肘側にアーマーをはめると、上腕も同じようにアーマーをはめていきます。肩周り、 肩関節を差し込んでマニピュレーターを取り付けと。これで腕の完成です。合わせ目とか全然出ないの素晴らしいですね。続いて足ですが、こちらにもちゃんとフレームがあるんですね。作ります。ふくらはぎのアーマー、すねアーマーです。イエローのパーツを差し込んで、こっち側からねちゃんと色分けパーツが見えると。これをすねフレームに取り付ける。足先はまずつま先を組み立てて、足の裏に赤いパーツを取り付け、足首フレームにはめてかかとを取り付けと。足先完成です。これぐらいの可動域ですね。足首を連結して、次に太ももですね。こちらにもちゃんとフレームが通っている。閉じます。太もものアーマーをかぶせていきます。挟んで後ろ側にはこちらを取り付け、股関節をはめて正面のカバーをかぶせます。このぴったり感がいいですよね。はい、これで足の完成です。角張ってていいですよね。膝も二重関節ではない割には意外と曲がります。次に腰部ですね。フレームにこちらをかぶせると。はい、これで完成です。はい、これでガンダムジリウス軽装体完成です。じゃあ組み立てていきましょう。足を取り付けて、はい、これで下半身の完成です。シンプルですがなんかダブルオーみたいな感じでかっこいいですね。続いて胴体に腕を取り付けて、これで上半身の完成です。こちらもシンプルですが非常にかっこいい。フレームがねめちゃめちゃ見えてるのがほんといいですね。上下間違えてた。はい、こうですね。そして上半身と下半身をドッキング、ガシャコン、こんな感じ。おー、シンプルで足が長くてかっこいい。この辺なんか何にもないですからね。最後に頭部を取り付け、ジャキーン。これでガンダムジリウス軽装体の完成です。クラフタチャンネルハイグレードガンダムジリウス軽装体素組みの完成です。近くで見るとこんな感じ。アーマーがないんで細いですね。バックショットはこうなってますが、個人的な感想としてはかなりバイバトス系に近いような気がしますね。では引き続きアーマー類を装着していきたいと思います。このシンプルな機体がどこまで変わるのか非常に楽しみですね。これよく見るとボディ各所にこの 3mm 軸の穴がいっぱい開いてるんですよね。ここにアーマーをはめていくわけですから、30 minutes ミッションズみたいなガンプラですね。なんとなくまずは股関節周りからいきましょうか。この部分にアーマーをはめてフロントスカートを差し込みます。おお、なんだか戦国武将みたいな感じになってきましたね。太もも側面にもアーマー、サイドスカートを組み立ててウエストに取り付けます。そしてアームガードのパーツですね。こちらを組み立ててすね部分の穴に取り付け、これで下半身部分完成しました。めちゃめちゃ豪華になりました。続いてショルダーアーマーですね。イエローのスラスターを取り付けて上からカバーをかぶせます。この辺もねアドバンスオブゼータっぽい。もう一つこちらのパーツも組み立てて、これを前腕に取り付けます。ショルダーアーマーもかぶせると。リアアーマーですね。組み立ててフレームに差し込む。これをリアに取り付けると。バルバトスじゃん。いやちょっと見てください。このガンダムめちゃめちゃかっこよくないですかこれ。やばいな。ではバックパックのフェザーエクステンションの部分閉じます。2つ作ってフレームにはめると。閉じてフェザーエクステンションが稼働するんですね。こんな感じで。そしてこちらのパーツにこれを差し込んで、反対側にもこちらを差し込むと。これを2機作ったらボールジョイントで取り付けます。これでバックパックの完成です。しっかりと組み立てる場合はこの辺の肉抜き、ここをちょっと工夫したいところですね。最後にウェポン類を作っていきましょう。ビームライフル、底辺にこれをつけて上からかぶせると。こちらのフレームにクリアパーツをはめて先ほどのやつを差し込む。閉じます。上からホワイトのカバーをかぶせていきます。いやこの辺のね台形のパネルラインいいですよね。ここにもかぶせて、この辺は隙間が出るのが正解らしいです。ここにもかぶせると。イエローのパーツ。はい、これでビームライフル完成ですね。合わせ目はここはパネルライン、そして裏側はご覧ください。こちらもパネルラインということで、合わせ目消す必要一切ありません。しかもなんだかかっこいいなこれ。最後にシールドですね。先端にクリアパーツをはめて内張りを取り付ける。反対側の隙間からはこのグレーが見えるというね、一番好きなやつです。先端にカバーを取り付ければ、はい、これでシールドの完成です。単純な形状ですがちゃんと綺麗に内張りがあるのが素晴らしい。あと腰の部分にビームサーベルを取り付けておきます。最後に背面にフェザーエクステンションを取り付けて 3mm 穴にビームサーベルをはめます。合計6本もビームサーベルがあるという豪華仕様ですね。 1、2本なくしても大丈夫。これでガンダムジリウスフルアーマー状態の完成です。クラフタチャンネル。ハイグレードガンダムジリウス全アーマー装着状態素組みの完成です。近くで見るとこんな感じ。ハイグレードなのにパーツのディテール細かいですよね。そして背面にはクリアパーツのフェザーエクステンション、こちらもかなり変わった武装です。ではこのハイグレードガンダムジリウスの魅力に迫っていきましょう。せっかくなんで装甲なしとありの状態を比較してみましょう。頭部以外は全く別物といった感じですね。ガンダム8の世界ではガンダムは1機だけしか残ってないということなんで、今後様々な外装パーツが別売りで発売されたりするんでしょうね。外部装甲もそうなんですけど、ウェポン類もかなり迫力がありますね。大きいです。ではちょっとポーズを取らせてディスプレイしてみましょう。いかがですか？いや、これ動きをつけるとさらにかっこよさが増しますね。なんだろう、これをアニメ化してほしいまでありますね。いや、このガンダム8今後どんな MS 発売されるのか今から楽しみになってきました。ビームライフルを構えてみる。さすがに外部装甲がかなり多い。動かす際にアーマーが引っかかったりする場所も多いですね。
Aku recommend kalau kau nak buat custom kau tengok di
ビームサーベル二刀流でポージング。武器が軽装状態でもこの迫力ですからね。この状態の方が好きっていう人も結構いそうですね。スタイルも抜群。さらに全塗装とかするとかなり化けそうですね。いや、いいガンプラだわ。はい、というわけで今回は漫画機動戦士ガンダム8の主役機ハイグレードガンダムジリウスをすぐみレビューしてみました。後付けのアーマータイプのガンプラってシーンとかもね結構できますので、改造やブンドドなんかもはかどりそう。非常にかっこよくてガンダムらしいガンダムに仕上がっているので、再販された際にはぜひ皆さんも購入してみてはいかがでしょう。今回ご紹介した切手やツール類に関しては動画の概要欄に載せておきますので、よろしければどうぞ。
Wow! What is that ping?
お会いしましょう。ご視聴ありがとうございました。
Getting more.
Some of Bandai's plastic is starting to fuse in the joints. This also happened to me with the math.
ようがどうにもならないような浮世も僕の中にある小さな優しさでどうにかなるから巡り巡ってどこかの君に幸せが訪れればいいな転がれば
Tak, dia macam ambil feel
世界はせわしがと身軽になって一息ついていようシャンペーンで挑戦したいと生きればその手をつないでさワンになっていようラララララララ誰のせいにしようかどうにもならないようなところは君の中にある
This is one of the most aku tak tahu benda macam basically a band a group that have been like glazed by the media. This is the band in Japan. 歌うのはダサいこと所詮流る時代の海
心はせわしがど私の人生は本当素晴らしいもの言えない光のもしかせなく笑って泣いて世界はせわしがど身軽になって一息ついていよう
Aku pun tak tahu kenapa. Mungkin the beauty standard, I don't know. Because Japan have we also with the beauty standard. Ya, apa pendapat kau tentang orang yang putih? Aku faham, bukan orang Melayu kita yang putih, tapi terlalu putih. Like, aku ingat aku suka, tapi macam, damn, bro, you're not like that nice lah. Yes, Melayu bukan. Dia Melayu yang dia pakai produk tu, yang terlalu putih, like kind of take the aesthetic way. Wait, did they give us like a start? Yes, yes. I've been wanting them to do this for a long time. Oh, so we get like 6. Bukannya lelaki kan. Lelaki is hell no. Like, I don't. Kalau kau buat tu kan, don't talk to me. Lelaki putih like what the fuck. Like cuci muka ke bang? Cuci muka tapi nak putih tu. You can say anything that you want, but I still stick to the Kalau kau layan lagu macam Radio Japan tu, lagu ni memang akan pasal semua.
主人公の子くらいに自分を持ってたのに名前もない役のようなスピンオフも作れないようなたかがバイバイさえくだらない愛を倒さ嘘つきにはなりたくないわさわさする胸坂の疎ましさずらして乗る空港電車なんかない僕だけが一人のような夜が嫌い君が嫌い
Okay, yes. I like when they do this thing.
完大事にしたくて不安だらけの日々でも愛してみる
Okay, kalau kau tahu grup ni apa famous lagu dia? Okay, dia Yes, lagu yang di famous. Tapi aku rasa ramai tak nyanyi tak cakap pasal lagu tu. Oh my point of view lah. Oh, I'm very good with this kind of okay. Yeah, lagu aku rasa one of the first few yang buat dia famous is Inferno from Fire Force. Pak, ayuk sembuh anjir. I stay. Aku ingat masa bulan 4 aku pergi handphone. Dia aku harap sangat dia buat benda ni. Macam I don't know why Malaysia move on from this thing. Dia akan playkan lagu yang macam top famous stream lah. Dekat damn, this is like very good song. Dekat dia punya Shinjuku, dekat Shinjuku dia satu billboard besar. Dia akan tunjuk lah, okay, what is the most famous song, semua dia tunjuk lagu tadi tu. So like one of the most so that is a fun fact from you. Yes, anime bomba. Tadi kita lah anime bomba.